Chapter 107. You were the one who created the post? Yi Wanwan was in hiding and had seen everything up to this point. Not good. Something's up with Jiang Yinran. It isn't that because of my interference. Instead of allowing Jiang Yinran to come to her senses, she's considering suicide, right? Yi Wanwan thought that at this point in time, Jiang Yinran didn't have a deep affection for Song Zihang yet and was salvageable if she came to her senses, but it looked like she was wrong. The two of them grew up together. Jiang Yinran's wish ever since she was little was to marry Song Zihang and become his wife. Now that her dream was dashed, it wasn't an exaggeration to say that her whole world had fallen apart. Furthermore, she was betrayed by her most trusted friend at the same time. She had personally suffered from Xin Mingqi's skills after all. Back then, she was also really close with her and would go everywhere with her, played with her, fought together, cried and laughed with her, skipped classes with her, chased Guyuze with her, and even repeated a grade in school with her. Not only did she treat her as her best friend, she even saw her as her future sister-in-law and treated her as family. Who knew that behind her back was a plot to ruin her? The more you care, the more upset you'll be when you find out the truth. Seeing that Jiang Yinran was only half a step away from the lake, Yi Wanwan pinched her nose bridge, quickly walked out of the dark, and called out leisurely, "Oh, look who it is. Isn't this our Miss High and Mighty Jiang Yinran? Being here so late at night. Don't tell me you're trying to take your own life because you got ditched." Jiang Yinran's back stiffened. Her initial dull and sluggish eyes suddenly glared towards Yi Wanwan fiercely. She gritted her teeth and said, "Yi Wanwan, you're happy seeing me like this now, right? You're pleased, right?" Yi Wanwan smirked, and with a snarkish tone, she said, "Of course, if you jump now that would make me even happier." Why aren't you jumping anymore? You. Jiang Yinran's face turned red in anger. You wish. Jiang Yinran took a step back after saying that. It's just Song Zihang. Why would I care? With my family background, I can have any man I want. I just hate being lied to. Oh, not bad, it worked. Yi Wanwan nodded repeatedly. Right, that's right. Big Missy Jiang naturally didn't have to worry about marriage. It's his loss. Seeing that she was as aggressive as a rooster and looked like she could fight with her for 800 rounds, she had probably given up the idea of suicide. Yi Wanwan heaved a sigh of relief and sat down on the grass casually, continuing to scroll through the post. Jiang Yinran couldn't give in to being provoked. She had been prepared to have a big fight with Yi Wanwan, but didn't expect that she would play with her phone. Halfway through the quarrel, she felt like she'd be punching a strawman, causing no damage no matter how hard she punched. After her emotions fluctuated wildly, she felt like all the energy in her body had been drained. She sank to the ground and hugged her knees expressionlessly. Yi Wanwan, do you hate me that much? Am I really that intolerable? Seeing that Yi Wanwan didn't respond and kept focusing on her phone, Jiang Yinran subconsciously looked over. In the end, when she saw that Yi Wanwan was in the midst of replying to the post, her expression changed. In Yi Wanwan's reply box, the ID indicated Gossip Porter. You're Gossip Porter. You were the one that wrote that post about Xin Mingqi? Jiang Yinran asked in astonishment. Chapter 108. Let's team up. She initially thought that the post was created by Feng Qin or someone else who was there and had witnessed the injustice done to her, but she didn't expect that person to be Yi Wanwan. This post that was speaking up for her, helping her right wrongs, was unexpectedly created by the one she had always seen as an enemy, Yi Wanwan. How could it be? Isn't Xin Mingqi your best friend? Why did you do this? Jiang Yinran asked in a daze. Yi Wanwan raised her brows and looked at her. Scoff, best friend? She was also your best friend. But I'm not like you. So stupid that you needed someone to tell you before realizing that you were being fooled. Actually, Yi Wanwan felt quite guilty when she said these words, as she herself had also been stupid for her entire life before her brain started working again. Jiang Yinran realized that she didn't understand the girl in front of her at all. Could it be that Yi Wanwan didn't blurt those words out accidentally, but she actually said them in front of everybody on purpose? Could it be that Xin Mingqi also double-crossed Yi Wanwan, and she found out so her attitude took a dramatic turn? The more Jiang Yinran thought about it, the more plausible it was. She even remembered how Yi Wanwan had been cast out of their group. It was when Shun Ming-chi accidentally revealed that Yi Wanwan had a sugar daddy outside of school, had a chaotic private life, and even contracted a dirty disease. Thinking back, considering Shan Ming-chi's character, the credibility of everything she said was questionable. Despite Jiang Yinran's shocked expression, Yi Wanwan knew that she was smart enough to understand most things. Thus, with a devious expression, she said, "Big Missy Jiang, do you want Song Zihang to fall madly in love with you? Do you want to reveal Shun Ming-chi's true colors in front of everyone and ruin her reputation? Do you want to let Song Zihang see Shun Ming-chi's true colors and regret not choosing you earlier?" Even though Jiang Yinran didn't respond, her eyes got brighter with each sentence that Yi Wanwan spoke. It was obvious that every word resonated with her heart. At the end of her speech, Yi Wanwan winked and said, "Let's team up." Jiang Yinran was stunned for a moment and looked at her hesitantly. "Team up? Why should I believe you? Why should I team up with you?" Yi Wanwan gave it a thought. "Because I'm pretty?" Jiang Yinran's expression darkened. "Because we have a common enemy? Is this reason enough?" This time, Yi Wanwan replied seriously. Due to Si Han's restrictions, there were many things that she couldn't do. She didn't even dare to leave the school every day, so she definitely needed a partner. Jiang Yinran took a long time to make up her mind, then said, "May I ask why? Why are you going against Shun Ming-chi all of a sudden?" Yi Wanwan grinned, "Coincidentally, like you, because she seduced my man." "Your man?" Jiang Yinran was somewhat surprised, probably because she didn't really believe that Yi Wanwan had a man. Or maybe Yi Wanwan was like her and had a secret crush on a guy. All things considered, Jiang Yinran did empathize with her. So, the harsh words Yi Wanwan used to provoke me just now were, in fact, to prevent me from taking things too hard? Although she saw Yi Wanwan differently now, she had also just been lied to, and Jiang Yinran didn't trust others easily, so she said warily, "Don't think just by casually saying a few words that I'll trust you. We're still enemies." Chapter 109. Ninth Master wants to see you. There's a really good saying. The enemy of your enemy is your friend. You should give it some thought. If you're willing, I guarantee that one day, I can make the Song Zihang, who casts you aside without a second glance, turn into someone whose eyeballs are glued to you nonstop. Of course, if you want me to delete the post, I'm fine with that too. Yi Wanwan then left, confident that her extremely convincing words could entice Jiang Yinran. Jiang Yinran stared blankly at Yi Wanwan's retreating figure. Although she didn't trust Yi Wanwan, she had to admit that the story Yi Wanwan described for her was simply too enticing. What she couldn't take lying down was that Song Zihang actually hadn't loved her at all from beginning to end, and what she hated most were Shin Ming-chi's lies and trickery. She wanted Song Zihang to regret his decision. She wanted Shin Ming-chi to pay the price. However, she didn't know what to do by herself. If she knew, she wouldn't have landed in this state today. Yi Wanwan, should I trust her? After speaking to Jiang Yinran, Yi Wanwan returned to the dormitory, removed her makeup, put on a facial mask, and took a bath. She laid in bed, thinking about how to deal with that guy. Actually, there isn't much difference between Xia and Lingdong, right? Maybe, as long as I express my heartfelt feelings, Si Han won't care so much. Yi Wanwan grabbed her phone while thinking. Just as she was deciding whether to give Si Han a call, her phone suddenly rang, making her jump. When she saw the incoming call display, she was even more shocked. It was Sui calling. "Hello, Miss Yi? Housekeeper Sue. Is something wrong?" Yi Wanwan asked. "Miss Yi, Ninth Master wants to see you." Yi Wanwan's heart skipped a beat. "Where is he?" "Jalan Bar. I'm already at your school gate. See you at the usual spot." Sui replied. Yi Wanwan took a deep breath. "Got it. I'll leave now." After she hung up, Yi Wanwan didn't dare delay and didn't have time to pack up either. She quickly changed and left. It was like that in her past life as well. No matter where she was, whenever and wherever, if Si Han wanted to see her, she had to rush over immediately. Actually, whenever Si Han wanted to see her, nothing much happened usually. Often, after she went over, he'd be busy with his things while she sat around within his line of sight. Sometimes, he'd just take a glance at her and then let her go back. It was simply baffling. Now that she thought about it, each time Han ordered her to come to him, his condition and mood were usually awful. It was only when she appeared in his line of sight that he would be at ease. Han's in a bad mood now? What could be the cause? Linking his mood to what happened that day, Yuanwan inexplicably had a bad feeling. Yuanwan got in the car with an uneasy feeling. She tried finding out from Sui who was driving. Why'd he ask me to come over all of a sudden? Did something happen? Sui was stunned by Yuanwan at first glance. She didn't have any makeup on and wore a very simple white dress, but was so beautiful that he couldn't take his eyes off her. She was truly a genuine beauty with flesh of ice and bones of jade, like a white lotus flower. Sui regained his senses very quickly and replied, "Sorry, Miss Yi, I'm not too sure either. You know what Ninth Master is like. I'm just following orders." "How's his mood today, then?" Yuanwan asked again. Sui suddenly went silent. Judging by Su Yi's reaction, Yuanwan sighed and resigned to her fate. She already knew the answer. Chapter 110. The Broken Taboo. Half an hour later, in Jialan Bar, at the entrance of the top floor in the box reserved only for designated VIPs, Yuanwan paused to take a deep breath and told herself to stay calm no matter what happened. "Miss Yi, please come in." Sui was about to push the door open when Yuanwan stopped him. Wait, don't open the door. Let me assess the situation first." After speaking, Yuanwan quietly pushed the door open, left a small gap, and then carefully looked inside. Behind her, Sui watched as Yuanwan acted all shady, and the corners of his mouth twitched uncontrollably. However, as long as she was willing to cooperate, he was already very thankful. Even after she'd done enough mental preparation, she was still frightened by the glimpse of the scene she saw from pushing open the door. There weren't many people in the box. She only recognized Lin Ke and a few people who were probably from Han's circle. At that moment, Han was seated at the corner of the sofa, holding onto a wet tissue. He was leisurely wiping the back of his hand, which showed a visible red patch. His skin was almost torn, but he didn't seem to have the slightest intention of stopping, and his current expression was dark and cold, as if his whole being was engulfed by the dark night without the tiniest bit of light left. A pale girl stood trembling opposite Han, like a criminal who was waiting for her death sentence. The girl looked very beautiful, and with her red and teary eyes, she was even more moving. However, facing such a delicate beauty, Han's face was still as cold as ice. Seeing such a strange situation, Yuanwan couldn't help but be stupefied. What's going on here? As her head was filled with confusion, she could see a slightly plump young man with his face bathed in sweat trying to mediate the situation. "Ninth Master, this girl didn't do it intentionally. You're a great man. You don't have to stoop to pettiness or hold grudges for past wrongs." Didn't do it intentionally? Han turned his gaze and looked towards the man. That terrible and suffocatingly unbearable glance invaded the entire space. The man was so scared that his heart almost stopped beating. He hurriedly lowered his head to avoid that frightening sight as he turned to Lin Ke for help. "Young Master Lin, you see this?" Lin Ke also felt that Han was being too sensitive. The girl only touched him a little, yet his reaction was as if he loathed her touch to the point that he was willing to chop off his hands off and deal with the resulting bloodbath. But what else could be done? Han's hatred for women was common knowledge in his circle. It was their fault for breaking the taboo. Lin Ke was frustrated and glared at him. "Don't look at me. It's not as if you didn't know my ninth brother's rules. What's the meaning of calling this girl over? You were purposely looking for trouble." Thinking about it made his blood boil. Everything was his fault, and Han's mood was already off today. This tactless dummy just had to break Han's taboo and get him involved too. As if the shadow of death loomed over them, the room full of people trembled with fear. Cui Hao was so remorseful that his intestines turned green. On a small scale, it was this woman's fault alone. However, looking at the big picture, the entire Cui family was responsible. Rumor had it that previously, the Wang family was expelled from Imperial City overnight due to an attempt to make their daughter closer to Han. This girl hadn't even gotten close to Han's body. She merely brushed his hand accidentally while passing over the wine, but this man was brutal and inhumane, as if he would reason with you. Chapter 111. A time for reconciliation. Thinking about the fate of the Wang family, Cui Hao finally realized his own fate, and he rushed over to Si Han with a face of imminent death and begged for mercy. Ninth Master, I was wrong. I've learned from my mistake. I shouldn't have violated your taboo. You can do whatever you want with this woman. Do whatever pleases you. He had thought this woman was out of his league, so he couldn't bear to use her himself, offering her as a tribute to Si Han instead, who knew that he sealed his own fate. Is Si Han a man at all? Faced with a woman of such beauty, yet he's completely indifferent to her. Once the girl heard that, her whole face was in disbelief and despair. She hadn't expected that she would be sold out just like that. However, with her status, she couldn't say a word in defense and could only fall to the ground and cry in despair. Just then, on the sofa, the man who was ceaselessly wiping the back of his hand with the disinfectant tissue suddenly turned and looked towards the door. Lin Ke followed Si Han's gaze and looked over, furrowing his brows. Who's hiding there? Yi Wanwan's spine stiffened. She was so frightened by Si Han's icy blade-like eyes that she stumbled in immediately. The moment Yi Wanwan entered, the box filled with cries of mercy and tears was silenced in an instant. Cui Hao was in a daze. He kept his mouth wide open and stood stupefied. The girl's expression was also lifeless. All they saw was a girl who entered the box abruptly, who had black hair, wore a white dress, and had skin as fair as snow and eyes twinkling like the stars over the autumn streams. Lin Ke saw Yi Wanwan, and his expression turned black. Why is this troublemaker here? Ninth Master. I'm here. Having been found out for her peeping, Yi Wanwan rearranged the edge of her dress nervously and walked in Si Han's direction. Everybody was startled by the sudden appearance of the girl and started speculating nonstop about Yi Wanwan's identity. Doesn't Si Han detest women? Why did he call a girl over himself? They thought the girl that Cui Hao found was of the highest caliber already, but compared to this girl in front of them, she suddenly became dull in comparison. Seeing the man on the sofa's bloodthirsty gaze, Yi Wanwan sighed deeply. I'm really unlucky. Why did I come when he's fuming mad? She had roughly gained a sense of the current situation. Si Han hated the touch of this woman, just like a person with OCD. Some patients with OCD wash their hands for an entire day, and Si Han's condition was similar. A single touch, and he would wipe his hand continuously until it was all mangled. When she first found out about Si Han's problem, she found it very strange. Am I not a woman too? Why is he fine with me? Si Han looked at the girl standing 3 steps away, and his face darkened even more. Seeing that Si Han's expression was gloomy, Yi Wanwan hurriedly collected her thoughts and sat next to Si Han quickly and started to pacify him. She lifted her head, looked towards Sui and asked, Do you have any disinfectant?
Yes.
Sui took out a small bottle of spray from his body and handed it over, then shrank away in a swish. Lin Ke shot a look over at Yi Wanwan, speechless. Don't bother. It doesn't work. He just sprayed an entire bottle on himself a second ago. Yi Wanwan ignored Lin Ke and held Si Han's hand. Everybody saw that Yi Wanwan actually touched Si Han's hand and was seized with terror, almost pissing on themselves. However, in the next second, everyone was shocked to find that Si Han didn't seem to have any reaction and actually allowed himself to be held obediently. Yi Wanwan didn't care about the looks from everybody. She focused on spraying the disinfectant on the back of Si Han's hand. Then, she used a tissue to wipe it clean, drew her rosy lips close to it, and lightly blew at the red and swollen area. Finally, she kissed it as if she was coaxing a child. Better? The gentle breeze on the back of his hand and her warm and soft touch inexplicably made Si Han's mania calm down suddenly. After a moment of silence, Si Han nodded. Machem? Lin Ke spat a mouthful of wine out. Damn. My eyes. Cui Hao. Damn it. That actually worked. Chapter 112. Stuff. This girl simply coaxed him a little, and Si Han actually stopped wiping his hand. Even his frightful countenance had returned to normal, and there seemed to be some warmth in his eyes. Compared to this girl in front, the girl from before was complete garbage. Chui Hao couldn't help but probe Lin Ke further. Young Master Lin, where did this sacred being come from? She's just the ugly freak. Lin Ke rubbed his chin and grumbled while he looked towards Yuan with a mind filled with doubt and suspicion. When did this arsonist, Yuan, become a firefighter? Chui Hao, huh? Ugly freak? Was Lin Ke blind? Seeing Chui Hao in a daze, Lin Ke reminded him gruffly, What huh? You're lucky you were saved. Hurry up and get your woman to leave. I was scared half to death. If it wasn't for Yuan coming over tonight, I wouldn't have been able to settle this incident. Chui Hao nodded continuously. While Si Han was still in a good mood, he quickly signaled to the girl on the ground. The girl got up quickly and rushed to Si Han to apologize in a jitter. Ninth Master, I'm so sorry, get out? Si Han looked annoyed. The girl initially thought she was dead meat. She didn't expect there to be a solution allowing her to be let off. She couldn't believe it and was stunned for a moment before bowing non-stop. Yes, thank you, Ninth Master, for your generosity. Before she left, the girl took a glance at the girl next to Si Han out of curiosity. It turns out that Si Han doesn't hate women, he's just disinterested in other women. Since Si Han suddenly became so easygoing, Chui Hao wept in joy. Ninth Master, I'm really sorry about today. I'll punish myself with 3 glasses. Punish myself with 3 glasses. He was itching to slap himself in punishment. He thought that the girl he'd found was already of the highest quality, but who knew that Ninth Master already had a woman of such unrivaled beauty by his side. No wonder he was disinterested in all the other prey in the wild. At this moment, everybody in the box had the same thinking as Chui Hao, as they sized up the girl next to Si Han. Yuan didn't look at any of them. She sat close to Si Han without looking around, and her little hand grabbed some peanuts from the table from time to time. Si Han naturally noticed these unpleasant looks. However, seeing that Yuan was sitting next to him obediently and cracking peanuts like a happy little squirrel with her face filled with happiness, his expression turned warm again. Yuan buried her head and skillfully cracked a small bunch of peanuts, but instead of eating them, she placed all of them in front of Si Han and indicated for him to partake. Since Si Han hadn't had anything that whole night aside from drinks, he finished every single peanut on the girl's hand. Probably because of a guilty conscience, Yuan used every ounce of energy to please Si Han. After feeding him peanuts, she fed him pistachios, and after the pistachios, she fed him some fruits. Her only wish was for the situation to improve. As for Si Han, he had already stopped drinking and ate whatever the girl fed him. Basically, all the other innocent people in the box were also stuffed already. Lin's single dog K's face was as black as the bottom of a pot. He felt that all of them were no longer light bulbs. They were simply like the sun and moon shining bottomless rays of light. Damn it, it was agreed that nobody was allowed to bring a girl. Yet you called for a girl over yourself and tortured everybody like that. Chapter 113. Sucking up to the right person, Ninth Master. This is? Someone tried to ask him. Si Han hated when people probed about his personal affairs. That person instantly regretted asking, but didn't expect him to actually reply with a word girlfriend. Hearing that one word, everybody in the box was shocked. Girlfriend? This is no ordinary girl. They had all thought she was just an ordinary person, but in the end, she actually was special to him? The corners of Lin Ke's mouth twitched as he glanced at Si Han. Could it be that this guy asked Yuan over to let her take an oath of sovereignty? Chui Hao wiped the cold sweat from his forehead and quickly tried to curry favor with the Ninth Master. No wonder Ninth Master rarely gets close to women. He already has such a beautiful girlfriend hidden at home. May I know your name, please? Hello, everybody. My surname is Yi. Yuan gave them a simple greeting. Yi? Everybody mentally sifted through all the noble families with the surname Yi in Imperial City instantly. In the end, they still couldn't figure out exactly which Yi family it was. There seemed to be only one slightly prominent Yi family in Imperial City, but that family's status was far below everybody in the circle. Furthermore, that family's daughter was already engaged to the Gu family. Everyone just left it at that and didn't dare to probe further. They continued drinking and chatting to liven things up. Things were very straightforward from that point onwards. The project that Chui Hao spent half a year working hard on but hadn't managed to close with Si Han finally reached a conclusion that night. Finally, when they clinked glasses, Chui Hao was teary-eyed as he looked at Yi Wanwan gratefully, as if she was the goddess of mercy saving people in distress. He initially thought that he was dead meat. Who knew that not only was the crisis defused, he also managed to succeed in closing this important deal. Just like in ancient times when powerful ministers liked presenting women to the emperor's harem, there were all these people who presented women to Si Han, and he was no different. But seeing Si Han shun the concubine today, and the way he spoiled that girl, he realized they didn't stand a chance anymore. If the others were careless, they would end up in the same situation as him just now. However, it was possible to strike somewhere else. Before leaving, Chui Hao took out a golden card from his chest enthusiastically and gave it to Yi Wanwan. He said with a big smile on his face, "Miss Yi, it's my first time meeting you. This is a humble little token from my heart." Yi Wanwan scanned the card with the corners of her eyes, and her eyes glistened instantly. It was the gold card from one of the biggest luxury shopping malls in Imperial City, Parks and Plaza. With just this card, you could enjoy top VIP services and luxury goods at extremely discounted prices. Usually, aside from the internal top management, holders of the card had to spend at least 10 million. For those truly wealthy people, buying a piece of jewelry would probably be enough to reach that amount. But for ordinary people, and even to the average wealthy family, they could never afford to spend that much money at a mall. This man is just simply giving me a Parks and Gold card like that? Chui Hao. Chui. Damn. She suddenly recalled that this person might just be the young master of the Parks and Corporation. Realizing this, Yi Wanwan didn't accept it and glanced at Si Han. Si Han looked at Chui Hao plainly and didn't seem troubled by his actions. Accept it? Seeing that Si Han consented, Yi Wanwan then accepted it. Thank you. Chui Hao heaved a sigh of relief. Don't mention it. Don't mention it. I couldn't think of anything to give you. You girls love shopping, so I thought you might like this. He could tell that this woman's influence over Si Han wasn't to be underestimated, so he'd better build a good relationship with her. After Si Han's car left, Lin Kei turned to Chui Hao, who was next to him. Good thinking. Chui Hao forced a laugh. As the saying goes, those who adjust their actions to the circumstances are wise. But young Master Lin, where did this woman come from? Can't you tell us a little? Lin Kei lit a cigarette. I can't tell you where she came from, but I can tell you. What? You've sucked up to the right person? Chapter 114. My feelings for you. The car moved steadily through the night, and soon after, they arrived at the school gate. After the car stopped, Si Han suddenly said to her, "Don't believe anything Xia says." Yi Wanwan heard that and was slightly stunned. She tried probing further casually. Huh, Xia? Was it because you guys had some conflicts in the past and you're afraid that he'll do something to me? Si Han's tone was exceptionally cold. You just have to act accordingly. Oh, got it. Yi Wanwan nodded. In a single moment, the atmosphere became somewhat stagnant. After sitting in silence for some time, she stared at the man in front of her seriously and spoke, enunciating each word carefully. Si Han, since I've promised to start all over again with you properly, I'll never break my promise and I'll listen to you. But before that, you need to give me the same level of trust. Yi Wanwan paused for a moment before continuing. Otherwise, I won't eliminate the possibility of giving up halfway. Are you threatening me? The man said in a low voice, akin to a venomous snake entangled around her throat. The car had become more chilly as well. She felt the arm around her waist tense up. Yi Wanwan took a deep breath to calm herself down. I admit, I'm very afraid of you, and I don't have any power to fight with you. My freedom, my dignity, my body, whatever it is, you can have it all, but there are some things that I need control of, my love, my heart, and my life. Yi Wanwan suddenly moved and kissed the man's lips, which were pressed together tightly. Of course, at the moment, I seem to have fallen for you more. The moment Yi Wanwan's words left her mouth, a trace of astonishment flashed across the man's eyes, while the iciness in the car seemed to slowly crack and dissipate into the air. What did you just say? Yi Wanwan tilted her head. I won't eliminate the possibility of giving up halfway. Han stared at her with his dark gaze and replied coldly, "Not this sentence." Yi Wanwan thought about it. "I'm very afraid of you?" Han narrowed his eyes. Yi Wanwan. Seeing the man's exasperation, Yi Wanwan couldn't help but laugh and repeated slowly, "I said, I seem to like you more and more." Han stared at her and was still unsatisfied. "Remove the extra word." "All right, I've started to like you more and more." Yi Wanwan tactfully removed the word, "seem." "Like?" The man looked deeply into her eyes. What kind? What kind of like?" Yi Wanwan blinked. "Oh, it's the kind of like where I want to sleep with you." In the next moment, the man's pupils suddenly contracted like he had just sunken into some kind of painful memory. Before Yi Wanwan could comprehend the meaning behind his gaze, he lowered his body the next second and kissed her lips forcefully, squeezing out every inch of her gentleness and breath, and was much more intense than any other time before. Yi Wanwan let him kiss her obediently while she heaved a deep sigh of relief inside her. On the surface, she seemed to be smiling and calm, but in fact, she was so nervous that her heart was about to jump out of her chest. She actually dared to threaten Yi Han. Although she knew that this was too dangerous and courted death, there were some things, some issues with principles, that she had to let him know clearly. Otherwise, she would only keep retreating without the power to change her situation. Luckily, things went well, and she managed to pacify the great devil. But she didn't expect a low-level trick like hitting him with a rod and then feeding him a sweet jujube would work on this great devil. What a mysterious great devil. A long while later, the man finally ended his kiss and whispered in her ear, "Wanwan, don't ever think of leaving me. Otherwise, I can't guarantee what I'll do." Chapter 115. Flashback. Yi Wanwan was dizzy as her brain lacked oxygen and she was left in a trance. Even after living 2 lives, she still couldn't figure out what kind of feelings this guy had for her. In her previous life, her death was simply too sudden. She remembered that at that time, after a big fight, Han finally agreed to the divorce. She took the divorce certificate and the first thing she did was look for Gu Yuze. With Shun Mengqi misleading her intentionally, she had always thought that she stood a chance from the start. She thought that Gu Yuze still loved her and wanted to save her, but he couldn't do anything as he was suppressed by Han's power. After she had completed the divorce procedures, Han actually allowed her to leave. And not just that, he even drove her to Gu Yuze personally. However, as she went to find him with a heart full of hope at the apartment which her father bought for her, initially intended for her and Gu Yuze's honeymoon, she saw Gu Yuze and Yi rolling on the bed naked. She stood by the door in a daze and saw everything through the gap in the door. Her pain was deepened after she learned the heart-wrenching truth from Gu Yuze and Yi's dialogue. Her father's loss of power from beginning to end was conspired by Yi and her second uncle. Even Gu Yuze took part in it. He was already secretly together with Yi, while he was still dating Yi Wanwan. Her stupidity was the true culprit that harmed her whole family. She pushed the door open and stormed in to yell at that adulterous pair like a madwoman. Finally, what she got were Gu Yuze's disgust and Yi's arrogant contempt and ridicule. Each and every word pricked her bleeding heart. "Yi Wanwan, why don't you look in the mirror? Just look at yourself. Gu Yuze isn't blind. What crazy man would like you? Did you know how disgusted Yuze was when you clung to him with your fat body? Now, you look like neither human nor ghost. Where did you get the confidence to think that Yuze would fall for a repulsive and idiotic person like you? Plot against you. So what if I did? You can only blame yourself for being so stupid. Anyway, this was all because you shamelessly used your dad's power and status to force Yuze into marrying you first. Wanwan, sorry, I've only had feelings for Yi all along." She wasn't sure how she managed to leave that place. She was in so much pain that she lost her senses as she went to find Shun Mengqi to pour her heart out to her as usual. What she didn't expect to find was Han at the door of Shun Mengqi's villa. And Shun Mengqi was actually confessing her love to Han. She heard Shun Mengqi saying, "Mr. C, I like you. I fell for you the first time I met you. I really don't understand why Wanwan doesn't know how to treasure such a good man like yourself." If it was me, I'd definitely give my all to you. She'd just divorced Si Han, and this best friend of hers who had always been standing by her side and complained about Si Han with her, actually turned her back and confessed to her ex-husband. She was completely stunned then and didn't hear what Si Han said. She only remembered that Si Han's expression remained cold. He probably rejected her, and Shen Ming-chi's bashful face turned pale in an instant. After Si Han left, she finally regained her senses and frantically ran to confront Shan Ming-chi to ask her why she did this. Chapter 116. A day of jubilation for everybody, and probably because she just got rejected, Shan Ming-chi took her anger out on her. She said in an extremely malicious tone with a face full of contempt as she stared at her and told her everything she had done. She told her how she played her like a fool all these years, gloating about how she sent her elder brother packing after she'd used him and formed an alliance with her greatest nemesis, Yi. She cursed her to death viciously and snarled that she wasn't good enough for Si Han. She fought and struggled for so many years, resisted for so many years, all for a greedy and cruel playboy. Her best friend, whom she treated like her real younger sister, had harmed her from the beginning, shooting for her husband and hoping for her to die. Everybody whom she loved and trusted was all gone within a day, and her world fell apart. She couldn't remember anything that happened after that, as her mental state was in a terrible condition. She didn't even know who caused her death. The only thing that she could recall was that in the dark, her whole body was in pain like her soul was being burnt. After all, there were many people who wanted her dead in this world. Shen Ming-chi, Qin Ruoshi, especially Qin Ruoshi. After all, she snatched the position of Mrs. C away from her. With Qin Ruoshi's family background, she just had to play some tricks to make Yu Wanwan into the enemy of the C family. From the esteemed old madam of the C family down to the senior clan members, there wasn't a single person who didn't want to vacate the stain by Si Han's side. She naturally suspected that Si Han was at fault. Could it be that he was still upset about letting me go, and since he couldn't have me, he thought he might as well get rid of me? This thought sent a chill to the bottom of her heart. After all, with Si Han's personality in her previous life, it was really surprising for him to allow her to leave so easily. It was very hard for her to believe that he'd truly let her go. However, on the other hand, she should thank Si Han. If it hadn't been for him, she would never have learnt the truth and seen the true colors of all the people surrounding her. She wasn't sure what kind of accident happened later, but she hadn't recovered from all the shock or begun plotting for revenge when she inexplicably died of an unnatural death. What are you thinking about? The man's low warning rang in her ears. That moment just now and the expression on the girl's face made him feel uncomfortable. She was obviously by his side, but it seemed like she could vanish any time. For the first time, he realized that he couldn't see through her. He couldn't stand the feeling of being out of control. Yi Wanwan looked at his unhappy face and said innocently, "Of course I was thinking about you. Damn, I'm not even allowed to be distracted in front of him. Do you want to empty my brain, enter it, and sit on the throne? Must you be so overbearing?" Although the girl's tone was undeniably fake, his face still eased up. "Head back quickly and don't wander about. Got it? I haven't missed a single class recently, all right? I haven't been late and never left early either." Yi Wanwan unbuckled her seatbelt, bid him farewell as usual, and got off the car. "Good night." The split second before Yi Wanwan got off, she noticed that the rack at the front of the car seat contained a pile of home tutoring materials. Seeing this, Yi Wanwan's heart skipped a beat. Is he getting me home tutoring materials to stop me from going to school? If she hadn't fought and stood up for herself just now, did that mean she would have been grounded in Jean Garden tonight? So close. A long time after Yi Wanwan left, Sui was still dazed in the driver's seat, unable to regain his senses. When he witnessed Yi Wanwan threatening Ninth Master, he was so afraid that his soul nearly vanished. In the end, Yi Wanwan beat Ninth Master with a rod, then fed him a sweet date. She was completely fine even after scratching the tiger's whiskers and even stuffed his whole stomach with dog kibbles. Furthermore, didn't Ninth Master intend to stop Yi Wanwan from attending school anymore? He had braced himself for a world war, but nothing happened in the end. Sui. After a moment of silence, Si Han suddenly spoke without warning. Yes. Ninth Master, what can I do for you? It's all over. He's still going to flip out. Suyi's nerves were extremely tensed. Ce Han's gaze followed the little figure in the night as he spoke calmly. Your salary this month will be doubled, along with all the servants in Jean Garden. Sui was speechless. May I know? What happened? This good fortune has come too abruptly. Sui was dumbstruck for at least 3 minutes before regaining his senses. Could it be? Because Yuanwan just said that she liked him more and more? So, should we all celebrate? Chapter 117. I'll work with you. By the small lake in school, Jiang Yin sat there for almost 2 whole hours. All the while, Song Zihang called her to negotiate several times with threats and warnings. When she thought about Song Zihang's disappointment and disgust towards her, she felt as if her heart was pierced by a knife. But making her delete the post, how could she swallow this down? Just as she was thinking, she scrolled through her phone casually and saw that there was a new reply under that post. Her pupils contracted in an instant. I seek for her 1,000 times in my dreams. This familiar ID obviously belonged to Song Zihang. I seek for her 1,000 times in my dreams. Everybody, I'm Song Zihang. Firstly, I have nothing to do with Jiang Yin. The engagement was just a joke between our families. Secondly, Shun Mengqi didn't kiss me voluntarily. It was me who was unable to hold back from kissing a beauty like her. Mengqi also didn't mention us being together after graduating. She only said that she wanted to study hard now. Thirdly, I've only liked one person from the beginning, Shun Mengqi. Come at me if you have anything to say. Don't hurt innocent people. Song Zihang. You're good. Reading each and every word of defense, Jiang Yin bit down hard on her lips as the taste of blood filled her mouth. And the replies following that post were gashed at her heart like knives. Wow, the original proprietor has appeared. I suddenly find Captain Song very dashing. Am I the only person who pities Jiang Yin? She knew Song Zihang first, right? In the end, she was wrenched to the corner just like that. Furthermore, Song Zihang's words might not be completely true. But there is no way around this. In relationships, there have to be 2 people in love with each other. He already said that he never liked her, and it was just wishful thinking on her part. Blame it on her inability to get him. What has that got to do with Shin Mengqi? Song Zihang's choice was also indisputable, right? If it was me, I would choose the class beauty as well. Ha ha ha. Although with regards to what Song Zihang said, there were still some people who were suspicious and felt that maybe he said those things on purpose to defend Shin Mengqi. But Song Zihang's reply still managed to change the course of the discussion and even boosted the popularity of Shin Mengqi in Qinghe. At the same time, Yuanwan returned to her dorm. She wasn't sure why, but she felt that the sentence she said by chance tonight, the kind of like where I want to sleep with you, sounded strangely familiar. Like she'd said this phrase to someone at some point in the past, but that person definitely wasn't Gu Yuze. After all, she remembered every single thing she ever said to Gu Yuze clearly. Damn, I said something like that to someone and forgot who he was. How could I do something so degrading? Yuanwan cleared the rubbish thoughts in her mind and was just about to go to bed when her phone suddenly rang. The display showed Jiang Yin's name. Yuanwan raised her brows and answered, "Hello?" The moment the call was connected, Jiang Yin's emotional voice came through the receiver immediately. Yuanwan, you're not allowed to delete that post. I agree to work with you in any way you'd like. I just want Song Zihang to be regretful. I want Shin Mengqi to pay the price. What a sudden change in attitude. It seemed like Shin Mengqi had already sorted things out with Song Zihang and got him to prove her innocence personally. No problem, Yuanwan replied. Tell me what I should do right now. Don't rush, my big missy. You can come over to my room first and we can take our time discussing it. Yuanwan just finished speaking before realizing that her words sounded weird, like they went wrong somewhere. Like a classic line in the unspoken rule of the entertainment circle. All right, I'll be there right away. Jiang Yin naturally didn't know that Yuanwan, who knew women very well, was already driving in her heart. She agreed without a second thought. Chapter 118. Call off the engagement. After hanging up, Yuanwan opened the post to take a look. Just as she predicted, Song Zihang came to the rescue of his princess. Shen Mingqi was saved and Jiang Yinran became the laughingstock of the school. Now the whole school knew that she was unsuccessful with her secret crush and even fought her best friend out of jealousy. TSK, he really dared to speak up for his sweetheart and even pushed away the engagement that both families had established. The knock on the door quickly came. Coming. Yuanwan stood up and walked over to open the door. After seeing clearly the person who opened the door for her, Jiang Yinran was speechless. Come on in. Listening to the familiar voice of the girl standing there, Jiang Yinran was in total disbelief. You're Yuanwan? She remembered that Yuanwan lived alone and that there was nobody else in this dorm. But the girl in front of her was prettier than the school beauty, Cheng Shui. How could she be that ugly freak? Yuanwan. It was said that before Yuanwan started applying makeup, she was fat and ugly. After she slimmed down, she was just ugly. Everybody, including herself, thought that Yuanwan applied such heavy makeup to hide her ugly looks due to some inferiority complex. Without it, she would have given up on herself. Qinghe was Imperial City's most aristocratic school. It had rigorous teaching methods, but it was considered open. Like international schools, they promote individualism and diversity and didn't restrict students' style of dress or makeup, but everyone put in a lot of effort to reflect well on their family's backgrounds. Yuanwan was the only one who embarrassed herself like that. Yuanwan led Jiang Yin ran through the door and poured her a cup of water. Sit anywhere you like. Since they were already in the same league and Jiang Yin ran was a girl, she didn't bother applying her makeup all over again. Are you really Yuanwan? Jiang Yin ran still felt like she was dreaming. Do you need me to return to my usual self to prove my identity? Yuanwan picked the green wig up. No need. Jiang Yin ran waved hurriedly. But why do you make yourself look that way every day? Yuanwan lifted her brows. What's wrong with how I look every day? Don't I look good? Regarding Yuanwan's aesthetic taste, Jiang Yin ran was speechless. It was Yuanwan's right to choose to dress any way she liked. Jiang Yin ran was simply shocked that Yuanwan looked so beautiful without her makeup, but it wasn't her business. After glancing at Yuanwan several times, unable to restrain herself, she got down to business and asked, You really have a plan? Yuanwan rubbed her chin and didn't keep her guessing. She replied directly, If you trust me, then the first thing you need to do is get your parents to call off the engagement with the Song family immediately. Also, it had to be as soon as possible. She remembered that around this time in her previous life, the Jiang family almost emptied their pockets to support the Song family and helped the Song family successfully clinch a big project with the government. This helped the Song family to rise from a small company to a company that was on par with the Jiang family, like a carp leaping into the dragon's gate. From there, the Song family's company surpassed the Jiang family year after year. Jiang Yin ran face turned pale instantly. What? Call off the engagement. Yuanwan raised her brows. Don't tell me you still haven't given up on him yet and want to marry him? How could that be? I only want him to be remorseful now. Jiang Yin Ran's expression was slightly confused. But, Yuanwan, it's not as simple as you think. Both our family's companies have many business dealings and projects together, and if I suddenly ask my parents to call off the engagement, this would affect us greatly. We have to give this some more thought. Chapter 119. Take swift action. Yuanwan smiled and replied, How about you give this some more thought? I saw the news recently and heard that the Song family is trying to fight for a big project with the government. Your family has injected $1 billion into it, investing so much money within a short time. I'm afraid you guys risk your funds not turning over quickly enough and emptying the company's capital, right? Your parents helped the Song family only because they want you to have a good life in the future. Now that you've seen that boy's true colors, you should take swift action. Do you want him to make all the gains and then use all the flesh and blood he gnawed off you to take care of Shen Mingqi? In her previous life, as one of the men supporting Shen Mingqi, Song Zihang continuously developed and expanded the company with the help of his in-laws. But he took out large sums of money in secret to pave the way for Shen Mingqi and even invested in the entertainment business. If she waited till the Song family clinched this big project before calling off the engagement, it would be too late. Jiang Yin Ran bit her lips when she heard that, and stopped hesitating. I'll call my parents now. It's just that my parents were really fond of Song Zihang, and calling off the engagement is quite a big issue. Even if I asked for it, they would just assume I was throwing a tantrum and wouldn't take me seriously. Furthermore, both families have such a big collaboration together. Yuanwan extended her hand out. Pass me the phone and I'll make the call for you. Yuanwan recalled the news she saw on the television in her previous life. After Jiang Yin Ran took her own life, her parents cried and fainted directly in the morning hall. Mrs. Jiang passed away not long after due to grief. It was obvious that even though her parents were strict with their only daughter, Jiang Yin Ran, they loved her deeply too. Although breaking off the engagement might cause a lot of trouble, she felt that Jiang Yin Ran's parents would definitely stand on their daughter's side. You're making the call for me? Jiang Yin Ran asked hesitantly. Actually, up till now, she still felt that she was just desperately grasping at straws and didn't trust Yuanwan completely. But looking at this girl's eyes gave her an unconscious desire to believe her. Alas, Jiang Yin Ran agreed. Yuanwan dialed Jiang Yin Ran's mother's number using Jiang Yin Ran's phone. Hello, Yin Ran. Why are you calling mommy at this hour? Do you need more money? Hearing her mom's voice over the phone, Jiang Yin Ran's nose twitched. On the contrary, Yuanwan's tone was full of terror and she exclaimed anxiously, Auntie, I'm not Yin Ran. I'm her classmate. Hurry and come down to the school. Yin Ran jumped into the river and tried to take her own life just now. Jiang Yin Ran was stupefied by what Yuanwan said and wanted to speak up but was stopped by Yuanwan's glare. The tone of Mrs. Jiang's voice changed. What did you say? You said that our Yin Ran took her own life? What nonsense are you talking about? Yin Ran's perfectly fine. Why would she kill herself? Are you a cheat? Auntie, I'm not a cheat. I'm really Yin Ran's classmate. But don't worry, luckily we found her in time so she's not in danger. She's currently resting in my dorm. It's just that she's still quite unstable. If you don't believe me, you can make a trip down to school. Yin Ran's in my dorm at the moment. Yuanwan gave her dorm room number. Once Mrs. Jiang heard that the girl wasn't trying to extort money or threaten her, she knew that she couldn't possibly be a cheat anymore. Thus, she quickly said, Okay. I'll be there right away. After she hung up, Jiang Yin Ran furrowed her brows. Yuanwan, by doing this, aren't you? What? Lying? You dare to say that you weren't prepared to kill yourself just now? Yuanwan asked, confident that she was right. Jiang Yin Ran was silent. If not for Yuanwan's sudden appearance, she might have really jumped in and would have lost her life. You've said it as well, calling off the engagement isn't child's play. It's a big issue. If we don't do something dramatic, your parents wouldn't act immediately. It's also to prevent your parents from being soft-hearted and changing their minds once the Song family simply apologizes. Yuanwan explained. Jiang Yin Ran thought about it and found it reasonable as well, so she nodded instantaneously. Chapter 120. Recruiting Talent. Why are you looking at me? Yuanwan blinked. Jiang Yin Ran coughed lightly and tilted her head. I just feel that you've changed drastically. Yuanwan laughed. Changed? Did you know the real me to begin with? Jiang Yin Ran thought about it. She wasn't close to this girl when they were roommates and misunderstood her even after she moved out from their dorm. She truly didn't know what her real self was like. Sorry about what happened in the past. I was wrong about you, Jiang Yin Ran said, slightly abashed. Why are you still helping me after how I treated you? I've said it before, it's teamwork. I need your help at times too. With Yuanwan's honest and direct attitude, Jiang Yin Ran was quite pleased and immediately said, Let me know what you need help with, and I'll help as long as it's within my limits. There's no need at the moment, but in future, there will be one thing. Yuanwan stared at Jiang Yin Ran, with a gaze akin to a fox looking at meat. Jiang Yin Ran was uncomfortable with the way Yuanwan stared at her. In the future? What is it? Yuanwan's eyes glistened as she looked at her. If you enter the entertainment field in future, please consider letting me be your manager. If she wanted to take down Yi in this life, there was no way she could enter the entertainment field herself. After all, there was Si Han, the jealous lover. Amongst all the back-end jobs, being a manager suited her best. In contrast to being an actress, Being a manager allowed her to broaden her network of powerful people, and it would benefit her when she started her own firm later. Right now, what was most important was entering Imperial City's media PR profession and strengthening her professional knowledge. Although she was unable to recruit talent aggressively right now, if she managed to gather some potential artists, that would still be something. And Jiang Yinran was a ready-made strong warrior. Hearing what Yuanwan said, Jiang Yinran was somewhat surprised. Because of my parents, I do in fact plan to enter the entertainment industry in the future. But with my looks, I'm more suited for back-end jobs, right? But you, without your makeup, you look really beautiful. Why don't you just debut instead of being a manager? Yi Wanwan scanned Jiang Yinran from head to toe and said, clicking her tongue, my dear, I'd say that you've underestimated yourself. Believe me, with your looks, you could beat Shenming Qi in seconds. It's just that you don't know how to show off your looks, but don't be nervous. I'll help you with a makeover next time. Jiang Yinran probably kept her long black hair straight and wore a long skirt every day to please Song Zihang. With this style of dressing, she thinks that she'd look just like Shenming Qi and become the goddess of many boys' hearts. However, Jiang Yinran obviously didn't suit her current style. Not only was she unattractive, she looked more like a nun. In her previous life, after she entered the entertainment industry, Jiang Yinran had always taken compelling routes, often acting in suffering and ugly roles. But she remembered clearly that in her previous life, during one of the prize presentation ceremonies, Jiang Yinran went up on stage in a sexy red gown to receive the Best Lead Actress award, and that night, she beat all the female actresses within seconds. However, Jiang Yinran was dressed that way only once, and after that, she was never seen in that style again in the entertainment news. Probably because she was yet again brainwashed by Shenming Qi. Jiang Yinran recalled Yi Wanwan's usual monstrous makeup and aesthetic tastes, obviously not convinced by her words. Yi Wanwan knew that she didn't believe her now, but she didn't mind at all. She took out an outfit from her wardrobe and gave it to her. Go change into my pajamas, then lie in my bed. Your parents should be here soon. Thank you. Jiang Yinran nodded. Chapter 121. Complaints. Jiang Yinran's parents arrived shortly after. Hearing the knock on the door, Yi Wanwan braced herself and then immediately went over to open the door. Where's Yinran? Where's our Yinran? Where's my daughter? Mr. and Mrs. Jiang were so anxious that they were sweating buckets. Uncle, Auntie, you're finally here. Yinran's lying in bed. Hurry and take a look at her. Yi Wanwan said quickly. Both of them immediately rushed to the bed, and after seeing their daughter lying there, their hearts broke instantly. Jiang Yinran looked quite haggard. Her face was so pale without a trace of color, and her eyes were also completely red and swollen. Mr. and Mrs. Jiang probably wouldn't have any suspicions at all. Yinran, why were you so silly? What exactly happened? Yinran, hurry and tell Daddy. Did somebody in school bully you? Jiang Yinran looked at her anxious parents in shock. After seeing her family, she couldn't hold back the feelings that she'd been suppressing any longer and sunk into her mother's embrace as she cried in pain, Daddy. Mommy, I feel so awful. So awful. Mrs. Jiang's heart broke with her daughter's cries, Darling girl. Oh, my darling girl. Are you trying to get Mommy and Daddy worried sick? What happened exactly? Yi Wanwan stood at the side, tears streaming down her face as well. Uncle, Auntie, you must speak up for Yinran. Yinran was bullied so badly in school. Mr. Jiang's face filled with rage instantly. Who dares to bully my daughter? Yi Wanwan replied, It's Song Zihang and Shenming Qi. Daddy Jiang's expression changed. Zihang and Shenming Qi? How could that be? Zihang would never bully Yinran, and isn't Ming Qi Yinran's best friend? Yi Wanwan hurriedly explained, That's not true at all. Song Zihang has never liked Yinran and even got together with Yinran's best friend, Shenming Qi, in secret. As Yinran's best friend, Shenming Qi not only kept this from Yinran, but she even hooked up with Song Zihang after finding out that Yinran and Song Zihang were engaged. Mr. Jiang said sternly, That's impossible. I know that kid's character very well. Zihang is true to our Yinran. Mrs. Jiang chipped in as well. Yes, we see it for ourselves every day. Yi Wanwan sneered in her heart. This Song Zihang was quite talented at leaving a good impression. No wonder Jiang Yinran was worried that her parents wouldn't believe her. Yuanwan continued with her complaints. Uncle, Auntie, you guys were fooled. Song Zihang was just acting in front of you from the start. Whenever the elders of both families weren't together, he treated Yin Ran coldly and even told Yin Ran that he liked someone else. But Yin Ran was too silly and loved him too much. She didn't care about any of this and would be over the moon when Song Zihang simply smiled at her. She thought that maybe she'd be able to change him someday. As a girl, in order to please him, Yin Ran woke up early in the morning during the winter to travel over 10 miles in the dark to buy him his favorite breakfast. In the summer, she'd run over to the basketball court to cheer for him every day under the scorching sun. She's a princess and has led a pampered life at home, but in order to please him, she was the servant for the entire basketball team. She gets snacks and water for all of them silently and even wash those sweaty and smelly jerseys. Chapter 122. What a joke. She still knew a little about Jiang Yinran as she'd been roommates with her for quite some time, and at that point in time, their relationship hadn't soured yet. Just listening to all this, Mr. Jiang threw a big fit. Silly? Yinran, you're the apple of our eyes. How could you degrade yourself for a man? Without me, the Song family would be bankrupt. He should spoil my daughter like a princess. Instead, he treats you so poorly, as if you're a maid at his beck and call. Mrs. Jiang was in disbelief as well. Silly child. Why are you so silly? Why didn't you tell us? Yin Ran was worried that if she complained to you, Song Zihang would hate her even more. Yuanwan sobbed and continued in anger. After putting in so much effort, what did she get in the end? It was him enjoying Yin Ran's efforts with an easy conscience and uncle and auntie's financial support, while he hooked up with Yin Ran's best friend. I couldn't take it any longer, so I made a post to condemn those two assholes. In the end, Song Zihang thought that Yin Ran was the one who posted it, so he scolded her with all sorts of awful things. He said that she was evil, cunning, and forced her to delete the post. Since the post wasn't deleted, Song Zihang actually made a clarification in the school's forum stating that he had nothing to do with Yin Ran and that the engagement didn't exist. He even said that he only liked Shun Mengqi alone from the beginning. Mr. Zhang's face became extremely gloomy. Is everything you said true? Completely true. Uncle, Auntie, the post is still here. Take a look and you'll know what happened. Yuanwan opened that post on her phone and placed it in front of them. Didn't Shun Mengqi enjoy telling on me? This time, I'll give her a taste of her own medicine. Both husband and wife quickly looked at the post. In the quiet dorm, there were only the voices of the arguing Shan Mengqi and Jiang Yin ran from the video on the phone screen, listening to their daughter's despairing accusations, with each word cutting them deeply. Mr. and Mrs. Zhang's hearts clenched. The clarification that Song Zihang posted later on ignited their fumes. Mr. Jiang was so mad that his voice shook. Yin Ran has nothing to do with him. The engagement was simply a joke by the elders. Great, great. What a great joke. Song Xiaowei, you've got a great son. Mrs. Jiang read the posts of the netizens mocking her daughter and was so angry that she cried, God, how could these people say these things about Yin Ran? Yin Ran, it's Mommy's fault. Mommy's really sorry. Mommy didn't realize sooner. Mommy made you suffer so much. How upset must Yin Ran be after reading this? No wonder my daughter wanted to kill herself. All these people were too much. Jiang Yin Ran looked at her heartbroken parents and hurriedly soothed them. Mommy, it's all thanks to Wanwan for saving me this time. Due to some misunderstandings, our friendship hasn't been great, but after this incident, I finally realized who my true friend is. Mrs. Jiang held Wanwan's hand gratefully. Good girl, thank you so much. It's nothing, Auntie. It's the least I could do. Mr. Jiang let out a long sigh. Yin Ran, it's a good thing that you can take this chance to see things more clearly. We can start all over again. All the things you've suffered, Mommy and Daddy will definitely get back at them for you. Don't you ever do anything so silly again. Chapter 123. Cruel and wicked, your dad's right. Yin Ran. If anything happened to you, we wouldn't know how to continue living. Sorry. Daddy. Mommy. I'm so selfish. I'll never do it again. Jiang Yin let out a big cry in front of her parents and poured out all of her troubles. Yi Wanwan waited for the three of them to calm down a little before asking, "Uncle, Auntie, how are you going to do her justice?" Mr. Jiang snorted coldly. "Obviously we'll go along with that Song family's cruel and wicked bastard's wish and call off the engagement." Jiang Yin revealed a worried look. "But both our families have had such a long relationship and have many intertwined businesses and projects." Mr. Jiang gave his daughter a reassuring look. "Yin, don't you worry about this and let Daddy handle it. Thankfully we found out now. If we were a day late, our 1 billion would have been transferred into the Song's account. I'd rather take the money and feed it to the dogs now than let them have it so easily." Seeing Mr. Jiang's reaction, Yi Wanwan was relieved. "Mr. Jiang, you're awesome. Yin, you have nothing to worry about anymore. You must pull yourself together for the sake of Uncle and Auntie. Wanwan's right. How could Daddy's daughter be so weak? We must never let others look down on us." Mrs. Jiang looked at her daughter on the bed with a worried look. "What should we do now? We can't stay in school for too long. Yin, would you like to come home with us for 2 days?" Jiang Yin shook her head and said firmly, "Daddy, Mommy, I'm fine. I've thought things through, and I don't want to interrupt my studies." Hearing their daughter say that, they thought she must have straightened things out. Both husband and wife were relieved. "Wanwan, then we're going to have to trouble you to take care of Yin for the time being. We really don't know how to thank you." "Yes, it's all thanks to you." The couple thanked Yi Wanwan again and again. Then, since they were still worried about Yin, they talked some more sense into her again for a while before they finally parted reluctantly. Although they hated to part with their daughter, they had to go back immediately to seek justice for her. After the couple left, Jiang Yin suddenly looked towards Yi Wanwan earnestly. "Yi Wanwan." Yi Wanwan turned and asked, "What is it?" Jiang Yin's eyes were slightly red. "Thank you. Thank you so much. If it wasn't for Yi Wanwan, with my character, I would have probably kept this from Mommy and Daddy. Even if I came around to telling them, it'd be too late then." Yi Wanwan smiled and teased, "You can't just thank me verbally. If you really want to thank me, then you have to devote your body to me." Jiang Yin was amused. "Got it. If I enter the entertainment field in future, I'll definitely turn to you. I could tell just from today that your acting skills surpass those of even the top actors, and your PR crisis-solving skills are top-notch." "That's right, good call." Yi Wanwan nodded as she agreed and said casually, "All right, since we've settled things with your parents, you don't have to worry about anything now. Just put on a facial mask and have a good night's rest. Ask the teacher for a break tomorrow too. Rest a little and readjust your state of mind. We'll start with Step 2 after school tomorrow." "Step 2? Jiang Yin was surprised. "Giving you your makeover?" Yi Wanwan nodded earnestly. "TSK, I just remembered that after school tomorrow, Qinghe's going to have a basketball match against the neighboring high school. It's the best chance to stir something up." Chapter 124. My boyfriend's skills, do we have to? Jiang Yin hesitated. Although she had complete trust in Yi Wanwan, this was really. Yi Wanwan shot her a look and handed a mirror over. "Do you want to look like an abandoned wife in front of everybody in school and get laughed at?" "Of course not, but can you really do it?" Yi Wanwan rubbed her chin. "If I mess up, I'll shave my head bald to accompany you. Speaking of which, I've never tried going bald before." Seeing Yi Wanwan's expression, it seemed like she looked forward to trying that look. Jiang Yin was speechless and the corners of Jiang Yin's mouth twitched. "No thanks." Yi Wanwan placed an arm over her shoulder and started speaking with confidence. "Stop looking like the 5 heroes on Langya Mountain, preparing to be martyred one. All right, I have very good taste. Let's take you as an example. You're not suited for that innocent and pure white lotus look. Just look at your chest. Could you ever look innocent? You still want to copy Shin Ming Chi and go with that innocent style? You need to know your own body better, okay?" Jiang Yin suddenly covered her chest and blushed. "Yi Wanwan, you pervert. I'm speaking the truth, okay?" Yi Wanwan glanced several times, drooling. "Trust me. You're more suited for the enchanting and alluring, radiating and domineering queen look. Firstly, you'll need to change your boring straight black hair. You have thin hair, so this hairstyle looks like you have seaweed glued to your hair. Do you know how ugly it is? Anyway, you just have to listen to me once you get to the hairdresser's tomorrow. Jiang Yin thought about it. If her hair was ruined, she could just wear a hat, so she agreed. As long as you don't make me dye my hair green, I'm fine with it. Do as you wish. Are you sure? Even if I want you to cut your hair short? Yi Wanwan asked. Jiang Yin laughed. I don't even want that man anymore. Why would I be sad over this hair that I kept for him? Yi Wanwan nodded, pleased. Not bad, not bad. You're worthy of being my student. One night went by. Jiang Yin didn't return to her dorm. Instead, she slept over at Yi Wanwan's place. When Yi Wanwan woke up the next morning, she didn't wake Yin up. Instead, she washed up quietly and left for class. As they went to bed late last night, Yi Wanwan was very sleepy. Once she reached class, she laid on the desk to catch up on her sleep. On the contrary, the Xia, who was usually asleep, looked very energetic. He even arrived earlier than her today. Seeing Yi Wanwan arrive, the teenager's eyes seemed to light up, and he handed her a small slice of exquisitely decorated cake which looked like a piece of art. Wanwan, have you had your breakfast? This almond cake is delicious. Do you want to try it? It was the gentle voice of the hunk of many girls' dreams. But to Yi Wanwan, it felt more like the voice of a life-seizing devil. I don't like almonds. Upon hearing that Yi Wanwan didn't like almonds, Xia's face stiffened for a fleeting moment. What do you like, then? Yi Wanwan was on the verge of collapsing as she answered dryly, There's too many to say. I'm begging you, man. Don't talk to me anymore. Do you know how many people are staring at me right now? Seeing that Yi Wanwan was in a bad mood, Xia frowned. Wanwan, you didn't sleep well last night? Yi Wanwan took a deep breath. This can't go on. Looks like I need to use my ultimate move. Thus, Yi Wanwan kept her head down and continued to lie on the table as she blurted out, Yeah, I didn't sleep well because my boyfriend's too skilled. Next to her, there was a gust of cold wind and a dead stillness. A complete silence. Chapter 125. Remarkably effective. Yi Wanwan didn't care to see her deskmate's reaction and fell asleep peacefully. In a daze, she had a dream. There were sounds of gunshots, explosions, and screaming everywhere. She could only see fresh blood and blazing fires all over the place. She was already exhausted, but had to keep running and running. Her surroundings were filled with fearful people, and there were people dying next to her continuously. She could be next. The smell of death was getting closer and closer. She wasn't sure how long she ran for, but the road seemed never-ending. Finally, she reached a dead end, and there was only a cliff up ahead. Behind her was a dark vortex, and in front was a murderous aura getting closer and closer to her. She couldn't retreat, so she took out a knife and cut those people's necks one by one. Fresh blood soaked the earth. Ring, the bell rang. It was the start of class. Yi Wanwan woke up in a shock, her whole body drenched in cold sweat. Damn it! Why did I have this nightmare again? Ever since she'd gone through that terrifying attack overseas, she dreamt of this scary and gruesome image frequently. However, she wasn't afraid of those images. Instead, she was frightened by her cold-blooded and ferocious eyes in the dream. It didn't feel like myself in the dream. Beside her, Xia noticed that Yi Wanwan seemed to have a nightmare, and he furrowed his brows like he was about to say something. But then, the unexpected "my boyfriend's too skilled" popped into his head, and like a curse stopping him from speaking, he immediately shut his mouth. As her ultimate move was remarkably effective, Yi Wanwan had peace for the whole day. After school, she immediately headed back to the dormitories to look for Jiang Yin. As there was a basketball match in school that day, there were many people who wanted to watch, so the class monitor gave them a day off, and they didn't have rehearsal today. After she went back, Yi Wanwan looked at her normally empty dormitory that was filled with things. Jiang Yin, who was packing her things, saw that Yi Wanwan had returned and spoke apprehensively. I've requested for a change of dormitory from the teacher. Since I'm on leave today, I brought my stuff over. If you have problems living with me, I'll request for some other arrangement. Yi Wanwan didn't mind, but she was slightly worried. What if Sihan appears again like last time? Jiang Yin would have a big scare. Forget it. I'll just give Han a call later. Having a roommate's not a bad thing anyway. It's a legitimate reason, and I won't have to be scared that he'll appear suddenly anymore. Why would I mind? I would have allowed you to stay over even if you didn't mention it. With her situation, she definitely can't stay with Shan Mingqi any longer. After Yuanwan spoke, she looked at Jiang Yanran and asked, "Oh yes, can I ask you something? Does Chu Feng from the neighboring Jin Shou School's basketball team have a crush on you? How did you know?" Jiang Yanran was a little taken aback. "I saw his love letter to you in the garbage," Yuanwan replied. Jiang Yanran was stunned and felt slightly awkward, but she didn't deny it. "He did write me a love letter to confess. At the time, I was in love with Song Zihang and didn't care about him. Why did you suddenly bring this up?" Yuanwan rubbed her chin and said, "Send him a text and ask him out for dinner." Jiang Yanran froze. "Huh? But I'm not interested in him at all. Actually, I'm not interested in anybody. Anyway, I just fell out with Song Zihang. Is this good timing?" Yuanwan naturally knew what she was worried about. She held her hand and spoke earnestly. "My dear, how would you know if you haven't tried? The best way to forget a relationship is to start a new one. Most importantly, as long as you believe me and do what I say, I promise that Song Zihang will definitely be so pissed that he'll vomit blood." Chapter 126. Why don't you broaden your horizons? Let me tell you, you thought you couldn't live without him. Thought he was your entire world when in fact, you were just sitting in a silo, limiting yourself. It's such a big world. Why don't you broaden your horizons instead of clinging on to Song Zihang? Chu Feng came from a good family. He was good in his studies and sports as well. He was also way better looking than Song Zihang, which was enough to spite Song Zihang for sure. On one hand, she suggested it to spite Song Zihang, but on the other hand, she was worried about Jiang Yanran. Given Jiang Yanran's character, even if she decided to not commit suicide, this incident must have traumatized her greatly. With her paranoid temperament, she might never trust a man anymore. It'd be great if Jiang Yanran and Chu Feng worked out, but if they didn't, it'd be good to have her attention diverted as well. In fact, there were quite a number of people who were interested in Jiang Yanran. She could only remember Chu Feng because in her previous life, after Jiang Yanran took her own life, Song Zihang immediately invested in a big production and specifically requested to have Shen Mingqi as the lead actress. At the premiere of that movie, Chu Feng suddenly ran up on stage like a madman and beat Song Zihang up. That incident was very serious and everybody gossiped about it. It was said that afterwards, Song Zihang started legal proceedings against him, but was unsuccessful as Chu Feng had a strong family backing, so they ended things amicably. She could still remember that man's raging and mourning expression on the screen to this day. At that point, it had been a few years after Jiang Yanran got married, but this man still kept thinking about her after all those years. Thus, Yuanwan felt that this man wasn't bad and was worth a shot. Upon hearing what Yuanwan said, Jiang Yanran smiled bitterly as she mocked herself. How could Song Zihang be pissed? Although that was what she said in the end, she still listened to Yuanwan. Maybe Yuanwan's right. I should broaden my horizons. Yuanwan let out a sigh of relief after witnessing Jiang Yanran send the text. Then, she eyed her from head to toe and frowned. "Don't tell me you're wearing this today? What's wrong? These are the nicest clothes I have. I picked these out on purpose today." Jiang Yanran said. Yuanwan let out a long sigh. It's more like she's the one with problems with her aesthetic taste. Could her fashion sense be any worse? It's plain white and unflattering like an old rag. How is that nice? It's the most trendy piece now. Artistic ghastly girl in a cloth kind of style. Is it? Yuanwan rolled her eyes and dug around Jiang Yanran's wardrobe. With one look, she took out a floral dress. Change into this. There were large vintage flowers imprinted on it, but it wasn't over the top. It was attractive, young and vibrant, suited for her style and age. On other people, it would look quite dull, but on Jiang Yanran, she could definitely pull it off. Jiang Yanran looked at the dress, slightly taken aback. "You really know how to pick them. This is my most expensive dress. My mother gave it to me on my birthday. It's Brand C's limited edition set. But the colors are too loud and showy, so I've never worn it before. Go try it, go try it. I want to see it." Yuanwan stared at her with her eyes glistening. face full of anticipation. Jiang Yin laughed in annoyance, all right? No matter how hard her mother tried to convince her in the past, she never tried on anything that Song Ziheng wouldn't like. But as for Yuan, though she knew very well that she didn't have the best taste, she had some inexplicable trust towards her. Chapter 127. Transformation, are you done? Do you need help? Yuan asked impatiently as Jiang Yin had been inside for over 10 minutes and hadn't come out. Jiang Yin's uncertain voice came from the bathroom. Wan, I think I'll change out of it. I feel weird. Yuan couldn't wait any longer, so she simply pushed the door open and went in. Seeing Jiang Yin in that dress, Yuan was stunned. Although she knew that Jiang Yin was definitely suited for it, she was still surprised. Damn, I knew you had a good figure, but I didn't expect it to be this good. Usually, Jiang Yin preferred to wear oversized, artsy clothes that didn't accentuate her figure at all. However, the style of this dress showed all of Jiang Yin's assets. Yuan thought how well suited this dress was as Mrs. Zhang's gift as a rite of passage for her 18-year-old daughter. Looking at the reflection of Jiang Yin in the mirror, Yuan had the sense of a young girl breaking out of her cocoon to become a butterfly. You're teasing me again, Jiang Yin cried. Watching Jiang Yin's annoyed and ashamed expression, Yuan laughed. I'm speaking the truth, okay? Since Jiang Yin was still young, it was still too early for her to have the aura of a domineering queen. But right now, she was like a budding flower, revealing the charms of a woman while displaying a teenager's innocence. It was even more moving. Don't worry, trust me, it's not weird at all. You're just not used to it. If you want to talk about weird, it would be that your hairstyle and your temperament don't match at all. Pack up and let's head to the hairdresser's. Are you sure? I'm definitely sure. Do you want me to propose this idea to you with 10,000 more words? All right then. Let's go. They quickly packed up and Yuan dragged Jiang Yin out of the door eagerly. As many people would be gathered at the school's basketball court to watch the match, most other public places would be empty. At the hair salon, Yuan made the hairdresser follow her request strictly and changed Jiang Yin's hairstyle. The hairdresser was initially quite annoyed at Yuan's pretense in knowing anything about hairstyling and bossing him around. But in the end result left him speechless. The girl in the mirror changed her dreary and boring straight black hair into a head of honey-colored loose curls reaching her collarbone, making her appear more radiant and fashionable. Initially, he thought that it would be an awkward length, and he also didn't understand what Yuan meant by unawakened curls. Who knew that the end result would be so fantastic? With just a change in hairstyle, the girl in front looked as if she transformed into a different person, attracting the eye of any passerby. Miss, you're good. Where did you find this hairstyle? It's really nice. The hairdresser had nothing more to say. What he couldn't figure out was that although this girl clearly had good aesthetic taste, why did she make herself look like that? At this moment, seeing her own reflection in the mirror, Jiang Yin seemed to have lost her senses too. She had very little self-confidence, and after finding out about Song Ziheng and Shinming Qi, she felt even more self-conscious. She kept thinking that Yuan was simply trying to make her feel better with her compliments. I never knew there's this side of me. What is it? Are you blown away by your own beauty? Yuan laughed. It looks really good. Jiang Yin nodded honestly. After all, as a girl, seeing herself become better-looking brightened up her mood. More like stunning, okay? The big transformation is done. Let's head over to the basketball court and find a good seat. Yuan was secretly ecstatic. Chapter 128. Isn't he silly? Today's basketball match was the last match for the seniors. It was a farewell match, so it was particularly packed with people. Yuan stood by the entrance and scanned the court. She could see the two teams warming up but couldn't find Chu Feng. He probably hadn't arrived yet. As for Song Ziheng, his tall and big body stood out conspicuously in the second row of the arena. Sitting with him were Shenming Qi, Fang Qin, and a few other girls from Class A. Those girls looked at Song Ziheng with gleaming eyes, full of worship. But in Song Ziheng's eyes, there was only Shenming Qi. Song Ziheng trained his eyes on the girls in front of him and spoke somewhat emotionally. Thank you for coming to cheer for us. Haha, Captain Song. You mean to thank Ming Chi for coming to watch your match? We're just here incidentally. With Ming Chi's support, today will definitely be Captain Song's home game. We'll wipe out Jin Xiu completely. That's for sure. It's the power of love. Shin Ming Chi wore a long light green dress today, looking very fresh and elegant. She blushed as she shot a look at the crowd teasing her. Stop messing around. It's only right to cheer for our own school's basketball team. Yuan Wan observed from a distance as she clicked her tongue. Zhang Yin brought water and food and washed the clothes for the entire basketball team, but didn't even get a single word of praise. Shin Ming Chi, on the other hand, merely sat there to watch a match, and he was beyond touched. Are you okay? Yuan Wan glanced at Zhang Yin, worried. Zhang Yin took a deep breath and looked away from those two people flirting with each other. I'm fine, let's go. Ever since he posted that reply on the forum, Song Ziheng had been unscrupulously courting Shan Ming Chi. The two of them walked in a single file towards seats in the front row. The spectators on the basketball court started whispering once they saw Yuan Wan, but Yuan Wan already had quite the reputation, so everybody wasn't too interested in her. Very quickly, everybody's attention turned towards the girl behind her. Everybody's eyes lit up the moment they saw Jiang Yin, especially the guys. Wow, look, a beauty. Which class is this beauty from? How come I've never seen her before? Isn't this Jiang Yin from Class A? She's just had a change of hairstyle and clothes. Damn, I must be blind. I didn't expect that Jiang Yin would be so stunning. Her figure's fantastic too. The commotion in the basketball court quickly attracted Shan Ming Chi and Song Ziheng's attention from the first row, and they turned and looked behind them. Song Ziheng only faintly heard someone saying, Jiang Yin before feeling a sense of revulsion subconsciously. Could it be that this woman hasn't given up on me and is coming over to pester me some more? Song Ziheng wrinkled his brows as his gaze followed the crowd. In the next second, he was completely stunned. In front of him was a girl in a bright vintage printed floral dress, the fabric displaying her perfect figure and her brown curls, making her look beautiful and alluring, no longer looking depressingly plain like before. This girl who's so stunning that she's making every guy speechless is Jiang Yin. Song Ziheng couldn't believe his own eyes. At this moment, the chattering around them got louder, especially after seeing Song Ziheng and Shin Ming Chi. Hey, don't you find Jiang Yin much prettier than Shin Ming Chi? Shin Ming Chi was certainly a beauty with her appearance, especially with the right makeup and clothes, but compared to the alluring Jiang Yin, she suddenly looked really plain. She's much prettier, definitely. You can't tell usually. To think about it, Jiang Yin comes from a better family than Shin Ming Chi. Her father's a famous director and her mother's a well-known screenwriter, while Shin Ming Chi's father used to be a chauffeur for Yuan Wan. Don't you find Song Ziheng silly? Giving up on such a wealthy beauty with a good family who was so loyal to him for a country bumpkin? All these comments naturally reached the ears of Song Ziheng and Shin Ming Chi. Song Ziheng's face darkened while Shin Ming Chi's face turned totally pale. Chapter 129. You're the embarrassed one. All these comments naturally reached the ears of Song Ziheng and Shin Ming Chi. Song Ziheng's face darkened while Shin Ming Chi's face turned totally pale. How could she accept the fact that one of her sidekicks was actually the center of attention and even being used to mock her? Jiang Yin normally treated her very well and even helped her quite a bit, but what she hated most was her arrogant attitude now, exactly what she hated in Yuan Wan previously. Just because her father was the Yi family's chauffeur, she had to follow that big missy around like an attendant to please and appease her like she was her ancestor. She was even forced to stay back a year in school with her. Those comments from the people around them were stabbing her in places that hurt the most. The look of surprise in Song Ziheng's eyes just now made her expression darken even further. Damn it, why is this completely different from what I imagined? With Jiang Yin's character, after being jilted by Song Ziheng recently, how could she be in the mood to doll up and look so radiant? This style of dress also wasn't what she'd usually go for. She knew Jiang Yin very well, and she would never wear something so flashy. Shin Ming-chi couldn't figure out the sudden change in Jiang Yinran. Could it be due to the trauma? She quickly stopped her train of thought and turned to Jiang Yinran with a worried look. Yinran, where did you go the past 2 days? We were looking for you everywhere. You didn't answer our calls, and we didn't see your things in the dorm when we came back. We were all worried sick, afraid that something happened to you. With Shan Ming-chi looking like a beauty in tears, if you didn't know better, you'd think that the person jilted and attacked by rumors was her. Jiang Yinran looked at Shin Ming-chi's pretense coldly. Thank you so much for caring about me. Yuan Wan, who was leaning against the seat at the front row, blinked and asked innocently, HM? Ming-chi, were you very worried about Yinran? Shin Ming-chi was suspicious as to why Yuan Wan came together with Jiang Yinran, but she didn't think much about it and thought it was a coincidence. She immediately replied hastily, how could I not be worried? Yinran's my best friend too. Yuan Wan revealed a doubtful look and said softly, oh, you still had the mood to come for a basketball match when you're so worried. Yuan Wan looked as if she was talking to herself, but her words were loud enough for everyone around them to hear. Shin Ming-chi's face changed instantly, and she secretly glared at Yuan Wan. She hurriedly explained, Wan Wan, it's not like that. It's because today's match is so important, I just want. Yuan Wan interrupted her before she could finish, and she nodded with an understanding look, me too. I think this match is really important too. I've been waiting for this match for so long. It's such a pity if I didn't watch it. Yuan Wan's comment seemed harmless, but it was obviously hinting at the crowd. To Shin Ming-chi, a match was more important than the life of her so-called best friend. Upon hearing Yuan Wan's silly comments, everybody around suddenly sniggered and burst out in mocking laughter. I suddenly find Shin Ming-chi really fake now. That's right. Acting like she has a deep relationship with her best friend and looking like she was worried to death when in the end, she's here flirting with Song Ziheng. I think she can't wait for Jiang Yinran to die so that she can cling to this big tree that's Song Ziheng. I heard that the Song family will be working with the government on a big project. Their assets will multiply tenfold instantly. Chapter 130. I won't let you be bullied. Shin Ming-chi clenched her fist tightly and called Yuan Wan an idiot in her heart countless times. A look of hurt appeared on her face as she explained with reddened eyes. It's not like that. I thought that since Yin Ran likes Captain Song so much and today's match was so important, Yin Ran might come to the basketball court, so I came to try my luck. Yuan Wan was fascinated as she listened. She was wrapped in admiration with Shin Ming-chi's ability to twist the facts to justify herself. Jiang Yin Ran lost without injustice. When he saw how hurt and embarrassed Shin Ming-chi looked, Song Ziheng protected her instantly. Thinking about how the Song family was no longer what it was before, he steeled himself and looked at Jiang Yin Ran in anger. Jiang Yin Ran, have you had enough? You were the one who spoiled and made everybody around you worried. Yet you're still blaming Ming-chi now. You think every single person in this world revolves around you? Rich princess? TSK revolves around her? All these years, exactly who was the one revolving around whom? Jiang Yin Ran looked at how Song Ziheng scolded her indignantly to protect Shin Ming-chi, and her heart was overwhelmed with sadness. I must have been crazy to think that after so many years of feelings, this man would care about me. Seeing Jiang Yin Ran biting her lips, Yuan Wan narrowed her eyes and said to Song Ziheng, Captain Song, why were you scolding Yin Ran? Didn't she just thank Ming-chi for caring about her? Even if you like Ming-chi, you shouldn't be so unfair towards Yin Ran, right? Even as Ming-chi's good friend, I can't tolerate this. This comment by Yuan Wan successfully created some doubts. Everybody witnessed Jiang Yin Ran only commenting once from beginning to end while Shin Ming-chi was busy acting pitiful, and Song Ziheng actually scolded Jiang Yin Ran out of the blue just for her. I thought that Jiang Yin Ran was useless, so she got jilted by him. Now I know the reason why. Some people are just too good at acting. When Yuan Wan finished speaking, she turned to Shin Ming-chi and asked, Ming-chi, do you think I'm right? What Captain Song said was too unreasonable. At this moment, Shin Ming-chi was so frustrated by Yuan Wan that she wanted to vomit blood. This damn idiot. Shut up if you don't know how to talk. She's causing trouble for me with every word that comes out from her mouth today, and I have no clue how to speak logically with this idiot. To protect her pure and perfect image, Shunming Chi could only hold it in. Captain Song, don't blame Yin Ran. It was all my fault. Song Zihang was about to speak, but the match started and his coach was rushing him. Ming Chi, I gotta go. Go on then, all the best. Ming Chi said shyly. At first, she thought Song Zihang was just an average guy mostly because Jiang Yin Ran liked him, but according to the news she heard recently, the Song family appear to be quite a good connection to have. We'll definitely win. I'll give the trophy to you as a gift. After speaking, Song Zihang went to the court with confidence. Everyone who was crowding around to watch the drama went back to their seats as well and focused on the match. Yi Wanwan and Jiang Yin Ran sat in the empty seats a row behind Shunming Chi, diagonally across her. Jiang Yin Ran sat on the chair wearily as she murmured, bashing herself, Wanwan, thank you. I suddenly find myself so useless. Yi Wanwan chuckled softly, girl, you've performed so well today. Your utter lack of regard was the best defense against them. If you kept arguing with them like a resentful woman, that would have been a disaster. Leave it to me to embarrass her. Since I dared to bring you here, I won't let you be bullied. Chapter 131. Your concentration's too weak. Boy, hearing Yi Wanwan's protective tone, there was a warmth in Jiang Yin Ran's heart and she smiled. This is the first time I realized that you're so cunning. Ming Chi doesn't even know that she's been ridiculed, and she actually thought that Yi Wanwan's dumb. Thanks for the praise, hey. Look, Chu Feng. Yi Wanwan's sharp eyes caught the handsome boy walking out from the rest area. All she saw was a boy in a blue and white basketball jersey with naturally wavy, short, dark brown hair and a headband around his forehead. His exposed muscles were defined and not exaggerated, and his excellent looks were unusually conspicuous amongst the group of boys. Ah, Chu Feng. That's Senior Chu Feng. Senior Chu Feng's so handsome. The juniors from the lower levels couldn't restrain themselves and were already screaming. Even some girls from Qinghe were screaming. On Jin Xiu's basketball team, Chu Feng wasn't famed for his basketball skills. He was a total amateur at basketball, but he was the most good-looking. However, compared to his normal carefree attitude, Chu Feng's condition today was completely different. The boy's gaze was sharp, and he walked to his team with a serious expression. Since his earnest look was different from usual, it made all the girls scream. Yi Wanwan was about to praise him as well, but then, the boy seemed to be fine, but a split second later, he suddenly staggered and almost fell. Yi Wanwan was sure that the moment Chu Feng fell, he took a glance in Jiang Yin Ran's direction. Your concentration's too weak, boy. Yi Wanwan groaned. You almost fell with just one look. How are you going to play in the match later? The spectators gave a good-natured laugh and cheered. Do your best, Chu Feng. The hunk stumbling was quite cute. Jiang Yin Ran looked at the boy scratching his head awkwardly on the court, his expression somewhat shocked. Although she had already decided to give him a try, with her current state, she really couldn't get into another relationship so quickly. However, when she saw the boy's awkward and embarrassed expression, he didn't seem as repulsive as she thought. Jiang Yin Ran was looking in the direction of Chu Feng and strangely felt a hot glare upon her as she met Song Zihang's gaze. Song Zihang was actually looking at me? It must be my imagination. He was probably looking at Shunming Chi just now. Yi Wanwan noticed that Jiang Yin Ran was looking at Song Zihang and immediately reminded her, Where are you looking, babe? From now on, your line of vision can only be on Chu Feng. You're not allowed to look at Song Zihang at all. Remember this. Jiang Yin Ran regained her senses and nodded. Yup. From where they were sitting, Yi Wanwan could see Song Zihang's teammates were crowding around him and grinning like they were teasing him. The group of guys turned to look at Shunming Chi, and Jiang Yin Ran from time to time. Boss, you've got a lot of luck with love. You have two beauties rushing over to cheer you on and even fighting over you. We're so jealous. You'll have enough even if you give one to me. Seriously speaking, this is the first time I realized that Ms. Jiang was so pretty. Her figure's great too. I think she's on par with Shunming Chi. Boss, you really don't want to reconsider? Heh, keep them both, boss. Which man doesn't like the attention of beautiful women? His teammates' comments completely stroked his ego and even made him find Jiang Yin Ran more pleasing to the eye. Anyway, Zhang Yinran looked stunning today. Song Zihang had a look of content. All right, let's not joke around anymore. The match is about to start. We have to win this time. Got it? Got it. Song Zihang, who was busy stirring up his teammates, didn't notice a blazing glare upon him coming from the opposite Jin Xiu team. Chapter 132. Overexcited, the whistle blew, and the match officially started. Yi Wanwan took out the popcorn, Coke, and fried chicken that she prepared from her bag. She ate in delight while watching the match. Her insatiable appetite was one of the biggest reasons why she decided to be a manager instead of an artist. If her diet had to be restrained, if she was refrained from eating this and that, then what's the point in living? She wondered whether the vegetation in Jean Garden had sprouted or not, and wondered what they looked like, along with her chicks, little fish, and little grapes. Yi Wanwan got distracted for a little bit, while the score on the court was already at 11 o'clock. Qing He 11 points, Jin Xiu 0 points. What's happening? Yi Wanwan was shocked. Zhang Yinran shook her head. I'm not sure. Chu Feng doesn't seem to be in good shape today. Yi Wanwan quickly looked towards Chu Feng. She saw that he kept making numerous mistakes and his footwork was as messy as a drunkard's. He had quite a bit of energy just now. What happened? Being in front of the girl he likes, shouldn't that give him a burst of power to take down his love rival? This guy, could it be that he's overexcited? My head hurts. I pinned my hopes on him to take down Song Zihang today. Ah, it's not the wine that intoxicates, but the drinker who gets himself drunk. Ugh, I was wrong. Yinran, don't stare at him anymore. When she heard the teasing in Yi Wanwan's voice, Zhang Yinran looked away shyly. However, once Zhang Yinran looked away, his condition worsened. Yi Wanwan was some distance away, but she could hear the rasping voice from the coach of Jin Xiu, who was on the verge of breaking down. Damn you, Mother Chu Feng, you bastard. Did you take the wrong meds today? Playing like some dog shit. Bastard, get over here. I'll talk about life with you. The coach used the entire 2 minutes break during the second half to scold Chu Feng. The boy sunk his head low as he scratched his head. He didn't even dare lift his head to glance at the spectators. Finally, Jin Xiu couldn't recover their losses in the first half, and the match ended at 23:6. Yi Wanwan shut her eyes as she could hardly bear to look. Next was the halftime break of 15 minutes. All the girls from Qinghe cheered and rushed to the court to give the team water and towels and showered them with concern. While over at Jin Xiu, the atmosphere was gloomy. Damn, what's wrong with Jin Xiu? Why are they playing like that? They were beaten so badly that I couldn't even watch. It can't be helped. Qinghe's basketball team has always been quite strong. But we can't lose so badly, right? What's wrong with Senior Chu Feng today? Is he feeling sick? Unwell my ass. More like his soul was emptied. Yi Wanwan totally didn't foresee that he'd be so lousy. If this carried on, her plan today would be ruined. We can only fight poison with poison now. Yi Wanwan narrowed her eyes. Fight poison with poison? What do you mean? Zhang Yinran didn't understand. Yi Wanwan had no choice but to bring out the bottle of water and a towel from her bag and stuff them into Zhang Yinran's hands. Send them over to that idiot. Huh. Zhang Yinran was put on the spot. Will this work? Zhang Yinran hadn't imagined that her presence would affect Chu Feng so greatly, and she felt somewhat guilty. Shouldn't I give him some space now? Yi Wanwan sighed. If you leave, he'll be even more devastated. Bring it over. When she told Zhang Yinran to stop looking at Chu Feng, that guy immediately looked like a pet abandoned by his owner. Not only did he not improve in the second half, he even ruined someone else's play. Zhang Yinran had no choice but to nod. All right. Chapter 133. He stole my wife. On the court at this moment, the captain of Jin Xiu placed his arm around Chu Feng and spoke earnestly to tug at his heart. Chu Feng, what's going on with you today? Are you heartbroken? You're the one who's heartbroken. Your whole family's heartbroken. Chu Feng exploded suddenly. The captain was speechless. If you're not heartbroken, then why are you so distracted? Why do you look like a husband who just got dumped? Seeing that Song Zihang was surrounded by a group of beauties, the captain was filled with envy. Damn. As the saying goes, Comparisons only cause suffering. Why does Song Zihong have such a good life? After Jiang Yinran came Shun Mingqi. They're all beauties. Look at him, Chu Feng. You're putting your good looks to waste. Although Chu Feng was handsome, he'd never been in a relationship and he didn't even have a girl he fancied, much less loved. Once, he almost thought that he might be gay. The captain was busy mocking him when he noticed something wrong with Chu Feng's expression, especially when he saw Jiang Yinran walking towards Song Zihong. The way Chu Feng stared at Song Zihong was as if he was about to murder him. The captain felt that something wasn't right with him, so he quickly held him back. Buddy, what are you trying to do now? Why do you look so scary? I noticed there's something weird about the way you looked at Song Zihong. Does he owe you money? Chu Feng, he stole my wife. At the same time over at Qing He's basketball team. Captain Song, you're so awesome. Senior, you're the best. Keep beating Qin Xiao in the next half, and make them look for their teeth all over the place. Zihong, have some water. Shin Mingqi passed a water bottle over. With Song Zihong surrounded by fangirls, Shin Mingqi brought him water and a towel herself, and even switched from calling him Captain Song to Zihong. Song Zihong had never felt so happy before. He was rarely bold enough to hold Shun Mengqi's hand in front of everybody, but he did today. Mengqi, wait till I place the trophy in your hands. If I win today, will you? Song Zihong hadn't finished when someone around him exclaimed towards the nearby spectators, Jiang Yinran? Jiang Yinran's coming as well. Wow, two girls fighting for a guy. This is going to be a good show. Song Zihong's eyes sparkled when he saw the girl's dainty and curvy figure. Actually, Jiang Yinran's not bad as well. Her family background and even appearance don't lose to Shin Mengqi at all. It's just that her personality's too boring. There's no meaning and excitement after a while, but now. At this moment, every player from Qing, he looked at Song Zihong with eyes of envy as they started teasing Jiang Yinran. Hey, Missy Jiang, bringing water to boss again? Heh, you even dolled up so prettily just for boss today. Boss is just too good looking. Missy Jiang, you're too stingy. Why'd you only bring one bottle? What about us? Usually, Jiang Yinran was too nice to the basketball team and invested quite a bit of money in them, causing these people to take her for granted. Naturally, Shin Mingqi noticed the way that Song Zihong was looking at Jiang Yinran. She gritted her teeth but walked over in a calm and friendly manner. Yinran, you're here. I wanted to call you along just now but was afraid that you were still mad at me. Hurry and come over. We're all waiting for you. Chapter 134. Where is this place? Who am I? Song Zihang glanced at Shin Mingqi, obviously very happy with her. Only this kind of generous and sensible woman is suitable to be with me in the future, but the jealous type like Jiang Yinran can look quite cute at times. Song Zihang also realized that he was too harsh towards her before, so he walked to Jiang Yinran voluntarily, looking friendlier, but he still spoke with an air of superiority. Yinran, I know how you feel towards me, but we can't force love. The way you harassed me in the past made me very uncomfortable, but we've known each other for such a long time. So as long as you don't do such drastic things next time and stop hurting Mingqi, we can still be friends. Jiang Yinran stood expressionless in front of Shin Mingqi and Song Zihang, and she spoke in an annoyed tone. A good dog doesn't block the way. Could you please make way? Both Shin Mingqi and Song Zihang froze. Jiang Yinran didn't care about either of them and simply turned away. She continued walking forward with the bottle of water in her hand. Seeing this, the people around them were stunned and they looked at one another, speechless. Where's Jiang Yinran heading to? Maybe she wasn't looking for Song Zihang? Who else could she be looking for other than Song Zihang? Isn't she headed towards Jin Xiao's basketball team? Under the gaze of countless curious people, Jiang Yinran walked towards Jin Xiao's basketball team. Not only the people from Qing He but all the dejected basketball players from Jin Xiao were dumbfounded, seeing a pretty girl walking in their direction. Wah, a pretty girl. Whose girl is this? I'm not sure. She looks like a girl from Qing He. One of the guys with blonde hair pushed through the crowd and walked up to Jiang Yinran gallantly. Who are you looking for? Beauty? Isn't that Jiang Yinran? What's she doing here? The basketball captain, who was still counseling Chu Feng, mumbled suspiciously. The moment things quieted down, Everyone could hear Jiang Yinran's response. I'm looking for Chu Feng. Chu Feng. Who? Chu Feng? The captain turned to Chu Feng in shock, and Chu Feng's expression was totally blank. His ears turned red and his breath was racing like he had just run 3 kilometers. The boy with blonde hair was instantly disappointed when he heard her reply. Huh, no way. She's actually looking for Chu Feng, the cancer in our team. Ouch, who kicked me? He was kicked by Chu Feng behind him immediately after he finished speaking. Chu Feng was so nervous that he nearly moved forward with the same arm and leg and even pretended to be calm and strong as he walked towards Jiang Yinran. Yinran? You. Are you looking for me? Jiang Yinran nodded. What's the matter? Chu Feng thought he was finished. It must be due to his bad performance just now that he has to die now before gaining victory. After some time, just as Chu Feng had filled up his brain with the word dead 100 times, Jiang Yin ran past the bottle of water to him. For you? Chu Feng was speechless. It was as if he'd been transported from the dead of winter to spring when the flowers were blooming. The boy took the bottle of water like he was accepting the imperial seal of China. He was overwhelmed with emotions. Thank you. After Jiang Yinran gave him the water, she glanced at the spectator stand subconsciously and saw that Yuan Wan was mouthing exaggeratedly to remind her to move on to the next step. Jiang Yinran didn't have a choice. She thought about how she was partly responsible for him playing so badly today, so she followed whatever Yuan Wan told her to do. Jiang Yinran lifted the white towel in her hands and gently wiped the sweat on the boy's forehead and then said, Do your best. Chu Feng. Who am I? Where is this place? Why are there so many little flowers in front of me? Chapter 135. You'll find out very soon. All of a sudden, all the boys from Jinxiu started howling with excitement. Ow, 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 ow. Damn. Chu Feng, have you been hiding her? So you've been acting so weird today not because you're heartbroken, but because you're in love and couldn't get your girlfriend off your mind. No wonder this guy kept looking at the spectators stand just now. Girl, don't be fooled by this guy's looks. Everybody shut up. Chu Feng stared at those people furiously. I'm going to head back now. My friend's still waiting for me, Jiang Yinran said. Chu Feng was reluctant and asked nervously, Then, I'll see you later? MHM, Jiang Yinran nodded. Hearing this, MHM, Chu Feng's heart finally returned to his body after looping around the earth once. She remembered. Tonight's date is still on. Compared to the noise and teasing at Jinxiu, the atmosphere over at Qinghe was eerily quiet. Almost everybody's gaze was on Song Ziheng. After all, he still flattered himself and thought that Jiang Yinran was looking for him just then. In the end, she was actually looking for Chu Feng. Wow, this is so juicy. Jiang Yinran and Chu Feng? Since when did the two of them know each other? Although this is a shock, I think they're pretty compatible. This is my first time seeing Chu Feng so shy. Haha, too cute. They're definitely compatible. Anyway, they both come from families of equal status. I heard that Chu Feng comes from a good family too. I thought that once Jiang Yinran was dumped, she wouldn't be able to get up. Who knew that she would find someone else in a flash? You guys were worried about nothing. With Jiang Yinran's qualities, when has she been unable to get what she wants? As for Song Ziheng, I think he's blind. Song Ziheng watched as Jiang Yinran brought water for the other boy and even helped him wipe his sweat off affectionately. He was so mad that his face turned black. The discussion swirling around him made his face turn even uglier. When Jiang Yinran walked past them, Song Ziheng strode over and stopped her. Jiang Yinran, what's the meaning of this? This damned woman. She actually dared to embarrass me in front of so many people. What? Jiang Yinran frowned. At this moment, Song Ziheng's face was so gloomy to the point where it looked threatening. Feske, you said you liked me, but all of a sudden, you're together with that gigolo from the next school. Don't tell me you were flirting around with him before you confessed to me? Jiang Yinran let out a cold laugh. So what if I did? So what if I didn't? What does who I like and flirt with got to do with you? PFF, the people around started laughing. After all, what Jiang Yinran said made sense. Both of them had nothing to do with each other from the start. Wasn't that what a certain someone said previously when he tried to defend Shan Mingqi's honor? Song Zihang was so furious that he almost lost his mind, and he blurted out without thinking, "Don't forget that we were engaged, but you actually went behind my back." Engaged? When were we engaged? We? Song Zihang was about to retort back, but after looking at Shin Mingqi, he suddenly shut his mouth. After all, he had just recently made a post stating that he had nothing to do with Jiang Yinran and that the engagement didn't exist. If he admitted there was one, wouldn't he be shooting himself in the foot? Jiang Yinran, think of the consequences of your actions. Song Zihang suppressed the fire in his stomach forcefully. Consequences? You'll find out very soon. Jiang Yinran grinned and left without looking back. Chapter 136. Did you drink chicken's blood? After she returned to her seat, Jiang Yinran almost collapsed. Yi Wanwan had a gratified expression on her face, as if her daughter had just grown up. Awesome. You were great. Thanks, it's because you've taught me well. Jiang Yinran smiled bitterly. She was surprised too. She didn't expect that one day she'd be able to speak to Song Zihang with this tone and attitude. Shortly after, the 15-minute break ended and the next half of the match started. The whistle blew and the atmosphere in the court was suddenly tense. Everyone noticed that the atmosphere in this half of the match was different. The smell of smoke was stronger, and there were sparks of anger everywhere. Song Zihang glanced at Chu Feng scornfully. His teammate next to him gave a disdainful expression as well. He just has more stinking money at home, right? What a useless bum. That's right. He plays like shit, and still dares to snatch a girl from our boss. Chu Feng didn't care about those people mocking him. He looked at his teammates and said, "Later on, all of you should pass the ball to me." The guy with blonde hair wailed, "Then won't we be getting a big fat zero? If we lose, I'll treat the team for an entire month." Damn, an entire month. Grab hold of the tyrant's big golden thigh. One. You said it yourself. Everyone, remember to pass him the ball later. Haha, no problem. Very soon, everybody started running at top speed on the court. The captain of Jin Xiu snatched the ball from the forward player from Qing He and threw it over to Chu Feng swiftly. He was really afraid that Chu Feng would miss it again, but thankfully, he caught it this time. But then, Qing He's players advanced on Chu Feng, and he was forced to the edge of the three-point line. Song Zihang sniggered and went to snatch the ball from Chu Feng while his teammates guarded him. Once he had the ball, he'd definitely get it in. However, just as he was about to grab the ball, Chu Feng took a step back and tossed the ball as hard as he could. Everybody's eyes followed the ball, and after a few seconds, wow, it went in. A three-point shot. The entire court roared in cheers. It had only been 3 minutes since the match started, and they actually scored, not to mention it was a three-pointer. Everybody was caught off guard. They didn't even manage to see what Chu Feng did as everything happened in a flash. Beautiful. Senior Chu Feng's awesome. He was lucky. What's there to be happy about? The players of Qing He spat. There was a 17-point gap from the previous half, so they weren't worried at all. But from that point onwards, they couldn't be so relaxed anymore. Everybody on the Jin Xiu basketball team passed the ball over to Chu Feng, and like a totally different person, Chu Feng didn't miss a single shot. As long as he got the ball, it went in every time. It was as if his accuracy was due to the basketball hoop sucking up every ball he shot. Towards the end, Qing He was beaten to the point where they didn't have the energy to retaliate. The spectators were stunned. They realized only then that Chu Feng actually had a hidden talent. The captain of the Jin Xiu basketball team put his arm around Chu Feng's neck excitedly. "Goddamn, bastard. Did you drink chicken's blood instead of water just now?" Chu Feng looked towards the spectator stand. "What do you know?" It was the water from Yinran. Immortal water. In the blink of an eye, the current score was 0-17. Qing He didn't get a single point. With such a big gap, their scores had already tied and only half the time had passed in the second half of the game. Chapter 137. Big Brother's Gift. However, this was just the beginning. In the next half, Jin Xiu continued to splendidly thrash the other team, almost entirely due to Chu Feng alone. The screams coming from girls cheering Chu Feng almost broke through the roof. There was only a minute left until the end of the match. The current score was a scary 0-24. Qinghe still hadn't scored a single point while Jin Xiu had already overtaken Qinghe by 7 points. It was impossible to score 7 points within a minute. Qinghe was definitely going to lose. On the court, everybody was celebrating Jin Xiu's victory. Certainly, at the final moment, the ball landed in Chu Feng's hands again. Qinghe's players were totally beaten down and had completely given up struggling. "Stop him!" Song Ziheng yelled in anger. Even if he was going to lose, he couldn't lose with 0 points. He, Song Ziheng, couldn't lose face to this guy. Everybody didn't have a choice but to pick themselves up and try to stop Chu Feng. Under the gaze of every spectator and player from Qinghe, Chu Feng spun the ball in his hands leisurely and did a sudden move that nobody expected. He changed his direction unexpectedly, ran towards the basketball hoop of his own team and scored. The whistle blew, and it was the end of the match. Qinghe's team got 2 points. Under the astonished gaze of everyone, Chu Feng walked to Song Ziheng casually and said, "These 2 points are Big Brother's gift to you. You're welcome." His own shot that Chu Feng threw into his own hoop on purpose gave Song Ziheng 2 points. You, being ridiculed in front of so many people. Song Ziheng's face contorted with anger and he almost stormed over but was stopped by his teammates. After a moment of silence, there were cheers from the entire court. "Whoa, Senior Chu Feng's amazing." At the end, the scores for the second half of the match were 2-24. Qinghe and Jin Xiu's final scores were 25-30. Even with such a big difference in points during the first half of the game, Jin Xiu caught up in the second half and won the entire match. At the spectator stand, Yi Wanwan heaved a sigh of relief. "That's more like it. At least your big sister didn't help you in vain." It was obvious that Chu Feng took revenge for Jiang Yanran on that final shot. Yi Wanwan turned to Jiang Yanran. "What do you think? Are you happy?" Jiang Yanran nodded. It was undeniable. The wind did let off some of her steam. On the court, Chu Feng was being thrown in the air by his excited teammates. There was a huge grin on his face. After he was let down, Chu Feng seemed to discuss something with his teammates. After that, he walked towards Jiang Yanran with the trophy. Standing right in front of Jiang Yanran, Chu Feng was at a loss once again. "That? This is for you." Jiang Yanran was taken aback. "For me? But this trophy belongs to the entire team and anyway, I don't really have a use for this." "Ah? You don't like it? I thought all of you girls would like this, but yeah, there isn't much use to this thing, sorry." Chu Feng's hung his head low instantly. Yi Wanwan smiled and shot a look at Jiang Yanran. "How is it useless?" "It's for memory's sake. There are some people who wanted it, but couldn't get it." Song Ziheng glared ferociously at Jiang Yanran and Chu Feng, kicked the chair next to him, and left in a fit. After Jiang Yanran heard that, she looked at how disappointed Chu Feng was and recalled how hard he fought on the court to help her get back at Song Ziheng. Finally, her heart softened. "Well, thank you." Chu Feng instantly lit up like a flower blossoming in spring, and he looked at Yi Wanwan like she was Jesus. Yi Wanwan was speechless with the way he stared at her like a little deer with a pair of tearful, grateful eyes. She stood up. "The match is over. I won't intrude on the both of you anymore. I'm heading back to the dorm." Chapter 138. Going back to feed the great devil, Jiang Yanran grabbed Yi Wanwan's elbow once she heard that. "Aren't you coming with me?" Yi Wanwan. "Why does it seem like Jiang Yanran's sticking to me more and more?" Yi Wanwan replied helplessly. "Sorry, dear. I have a date tonight." From today's observation, she thought that Chu Feng wasn't too shabby. Also, she was sure that he really liked Jiang Yanran, so she didn't mind continuing to match them up together. "Date? Are you meeting your boyfriend?" Yi Wanwan nodded. "All right then." Jiang Yanran couldn't keep her any longer since she had a date. Chu Feng looked at Yi Wanwan with gratitude and said, "Hello, I'm so sorry that I haven't greeted you properly. You're a friend of Yanran's?" "Hello, I'm Yi Wanwan." Yi Wanwan did a simple self-introduction. Jiang Yanran continued the introduction. "Wanwan is my best friend. Chu Feng was slightly surprised as he looked at Yi Wanwan. So you're Yi Wanwan? I've heard a lot about you. Yi Wanwan chuckled softly. Oh, I'm sure you've heard all about my bad reputation. Chu Feng said seriously. It's only after meeting you that I found out you're completely different from the rumors. We can't trust them. You've only met me once and spoke a few words to me, though? How do you know that I'm completely different from the rumors? Yi Wanwan murmured. Obviously because you're Jiang Yanran's friend? Chu Feng looked as if that went without saying. Yi Wanwan raised her brows. I thought you were a fool at first. I couldn't tell that you're actually quite the smooth talker. When Chu Feng heard that, his face turned red instantly, and Jiang Yanran looked somewhat uncomfortable. Watching these two teenagers innocently in love, Yi Wanwan inexplicably felt really old. After she bid farewell to Jiang Yanran and Chu Feng, Yi Wanwan returned to the dorm. After she had removed her makeup and showered, she opened her textbook. At this time, not only did she cram the high school syllabus, she also read through the university textbook. She wasted 2 years of her time since she was held back in high school, so she had to get those 2 years back. Once she successfully entered Imperial City's media school, she was determined to skip a couple grades and finish her studies within the shortest possible time frame. At the same time, she closely monitored the trends in the entertainment industry so she'd be able to grab hold of any opportunities that came by. If she remembered correctly, one of the big-name actors in the entertainment industry would encounter their first extremely damaging PR crisis, resulting in them leaving the industry. The company that he was in also suffered great losses, and she happened to know how to bring him back from the point of no return. If she used that opportunity wisely, that'd be a good starting point for her. Her greatest setback in her previous life, other than Si Han holding her back, boiled down to the fact that she was too weak, both physically and psychologically. After studying for some time, Yi Wanwan checked the time on her phone, closed her textbook, and prepared to head to Jean Garden. Although she only said it as an excuse to Jiang Yanran so she wouldn't have to be a third wheel, it also reminded her that she should go back and check on Si Han. She had to strike when the iron's hot and use this chance while she and Si Han were still on good terms. Otherwise, the effectiveness would be very low if she kept responding only when forced. After all, she'd be graduating soon. By then, she'd be busier and many things would exceed the boundaries that Si Han laid out for her. If she didn't deal with Si Han, it'd be difficult for her to proceed. After she left the school entrance, she bought 5 big meat buns from the exceptionally popular store along the way and prepared to feed them to the Great Devil. Chapter 139. A surprise turned into a scare. An hour later, the cab stopped in the nearby Jean Garden. To Yi Wanwan's devastating discovery, she had finished 4 of the buns that she brought for Si Han. There was only one left when she arrived at Jean Garden, and she tried very hard to resist the temptation to devour it. I have to walk faster and save this last one. In order to create a surprise, Yi Wanwan didn't tell anybody that she was coming back. Instead, she sneaked in from the back door of the little garden. It was only when she was about to arrive that a sudden realization hit her. What if Si Han's not home today? Yi Wanwan contemplated this as she strolled across the yard and continued walking. There was only a little light turned on in the living room. The light was quite dim, but since there was a light on, there should be someone home. Thus, Yi Wanwan quickened her pace and walked in the direction of the living room. Then, just as she reached the big glass door and prepared to push the door open to enter, her pupils contracted and she paused. Blood. In the air. There's the smell of blood in the air. It's getting thicker and thicker. So thick that it's making me nauseous. It was coming from the living room. What's going on? There was a thick curtain over the glass door, so she had no way of looking into the living room. Just as Yi Wanwan's nerves were extremely tense, a heart-wrenching shout came from the living room suddenly. Kill me. Si Han. Just kill me. In the late of night, that shrill voice made her hair stand on end. Yi Wanwan was motionless and didn't dare to move an inch. She carefully peeped into the living room through the crack of the glass door. From her angle, she could only see a winding trail of blood all over the floor, seeping into the pure white carpet. Following the trail of blood, she saw Si Han sitting on the sofa. He had on a modestly expensive, tailored, dark-colored suit. The watch on his wrist exuded a cold luminosity, and next to his legs laid a white tiger, its hair as white as snow. The white tiger had its eyes closed lazily, like it was asleep, but was unable to conceal the deadly aura of a beast emitting from its body, as if he might tear his prey apart any time. On Si Han's right was Sui, and on his left was a teenager in a black shirt. A few steps away from Si Han, a man was rolling around in convulsions on the floor with his entire body soaked in blood. There wasn't a good piece of meat left on the guy, and the area around his knees was bleeding nonstop. Two solid things at the side had some meat attached to them, which seemed like the toonie bones extracted from the man. Under the screams of the man that caused one's scalp to tingle, the man on the sofa had an inhumane expression on his face. His thin lips moved slightly, letting out an emotionless voice. Continue. Following Si Han's order, the teenager in the black shirt moved forward, raised his knife, and cut down without hesitation. Yi Wanwan was so scared that she shut her eyes. She didn't witness anything, but just by the shrill howl of the man, she could imagine the torture he was under. Si Han. You're inhumane. You beast. Monster. The blood of the Si family flows in me. I'm your blood brother. How could you treat me like this? You actually dared to do this to me. Yi Wanwan's heart started pounding hard. What? This man is Si Han's blood brother? Which one? Judging by his age, he couldn't be Si Xia's father. Chapter 140. Are you hungry? Si Han. You'll get your retribution. Don't think that I don't know. Second, third, fourth, even sixth and seventh brothers all died in your hands. I'm telling Grandma. I'm telling all the elders in the Si family. They won't let you off. They'll never let you off. The man was already incapable of walking. He kept shouting insanely while crawling forward bit by bit. Si Han didn't stop him. He simply watched in silence as the man struggled in vain with his last breath. The man had already crawled to the door and reached out to open it. At that moment, a white shadow pounced over at lightning speed. The malicious tiger bit down on the man's neck instantly. His neck was as crooked as a kite with a broken string, and his blood spewed all over the living room like a flower blossoming, accompanied by the crackling sounds of the tiger gnawing on the bones. This scene was far too horrifying, even for the Yi Wanwan who had lived two lives. Yi Wanwan finally couldn't hold it in anymore as she let out a scream from the door of the garden. At the same time, the glass door she was hiding behind was pushed open while she was still in shock. In the next second, she was met with a pair of eyes that could freeze her blood, and she saw the living room akin to hell clearly. Sui, who was standing next to Si Han, was dumbfounded when he saw her. His face seized with terror. Ms. Yi, why are you here? I'm finished. Why would Yi Wanwan suddenly appear here? Isn't she supposed to be in school? The teenager in black, who stood on the other side of Si Han, looked condescendingly at Yi Wanwan, who was totally pale. He furrowed his brows with a look of disgust and disdain. Yi Wanwan's stomach turned. Her relationship with Si Han had been good recently, which actually made her view this devil as a human for once. Oh, Si Han. How could he ever be a normal human being? If he was, she wouldn't have been so desperate to leave him in her previous life. Gu Yuzhe saying that Si Han was violent, ruthless, and bloodthirsty was an understatement. To this day, she could remember the first time she witnessed him murdering someone. It wasn't any less bloody than this. That time, she was so scared that she called him a devil and cried, asking him to let her go. She acted like a lunatic. She even used all kinds of vicious words to curse him. After causing a ruckus for half a month and falling very ill, she wasn't able to change anything and was forced to witness another bloody scene until she only had a faint breath of life left. Then he let her off. With so many memories flooding back, Yi Wanwan's head started to hurt. However, all these memories flashed past for only a second or two. Yi Wanwan quickly calmed herself down, patted away the dust on her body, stood up and picked up her school bag. With the plastic bag in her hand, step by step, she walked towards Si Han without looking anywhere else. Facing the fearful Sui, the teenager with a cold expression, the blood-covered floor under her feet, and the sound of the white tiger crushing the bones of the human. Finally, she reached Si-Han. She passed the bag of meat buns to him. "Hey, are you hungry? I bought some really good buns on the way back here." Chapter 141. Are you scared? On the sofa, the man's eyes became increasingly gloomy, and he had an unwavering severity on his chiseled face. He looked like a demon walking out from the depths of hell, especially on this dark, blood-filled night. With the white tiger's deep roar and Si-Han's presence, the room was completely icy without any warmth at all. At this moment, Sui was soaked in sweat. He never expected that Yuanwan would come over, and the worst thing was that she actually witnessed what happened. He made a grave mistake in not noticing the presence of Yuanwan and allowing her to enter just like that. "I'm so dead." Suyi's entire body trembled. His heart was burnt to ashes. However, at this moment, he saw Yuanwan walking directly to the master and overheard her asking, "Are you hungry?" Sui looked at Yuanwan with enlarged eyes, thinking that he was hallucinating. "Wah, what did I just hear?" Presented with this situation, Yuanwan's only reaction was to ask whether the master was hungry, whether he wanted a bun, and she even said it in a tone like it was a regular, jolly day. Shouldn't Yuanwan have gone berserk and run away, screaming and yelling? The strong scent of blood mixed together with the smell of meat from the buns was revolting. Sui looked at Yuanwan and then turned to look at the master on the sofa. It was as if he was dreaming. The aloof teenager standing on the other side of Si-Han narrowed his eyes and looked at Yuanwan with a hint of warning in his eyes. Yuanwan didn't have the energy to care about his reaction. She focused on Si-Han alone. She could see him staring at her with his dark pupils. His scrutinizing gaze seemed to peer through her soul, causing a chill to creep up her spine. After some time in the suffocating silence, Si-Han glanced at the lonely bun in her hand and finally asked, "Are you scared?" Yuanwan was shocked, and she quickly replied in a firm tone without hesitation. Even though that was what she said, her heart was actually about to fall apart. She really didn't know where Si-Han found the courage to ask her this question. "Am I scared? If I wasn't scared, would I even be considered a normal human being?" However, she had endured such a painful end in her previous life because of her fear. This time, even if she was extremely afraid, she couldn't show it to Si-Han. Otherwise, if this scene was replayed, she might not be able to maintain her composure. Si-Han's temperament was far too volatile and enigmatic. In her previous life, she never knew which action or comment she accidentally made that infuriated him. In this life, she still couldn't understand this man, but she could use her experience from her previous life to prevent herself from doing anything that would enrage him. While Yuanwan nervously waited, Si-Han looked at her for a few seconds with eyes as dark as black holes. She wasn't sure whether he believed her words. After a few seconds, the man pinched her chin with his chilly fingers and whispered in a low, hoarse voice, "Good girl." Judging by this, he's probably satisfied with my reply and performance. Even if he doesn't believe me, he doesn't seem to mind. I took the right gamble. Yuanwan's tensed nerves instantly relaxed. It was as if she had just gone through a near-death situation. You're tuning in to the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.